Our guest tonight is Ryan Edwards.
Looking back on the life that you're leaving, let it rest in a hole in the ground. Stick around for the great revealing, or the fire you've been dancing around. All we hear is the sound of retreating. No one cares where you're coming from. My ears are still ringing and bleeding. I guess we all knew from the start. These are the days my heart goes numb. Yeah, one of these days will be the one. Looking for answers. Oh, what a disaster. These are the days my heart goes numb. My heart goes numb. Breathing the fumes of the ashes, the spirits light up the night. Looking down the
We're live from the Untold Radio Network. It's Untold Radio AM with Monster Quest producer, host Doug Hajicek, and co-host Jeff Perrella Jr. Untold Radio AM is going live right now.
This show is for entertainment purposes only. Yep, that's the ticket. Now here are your Untold Radio AM hosts, Doug Hajicek and Jeff Perrella Jr.
Hello.
Welcome. Hey, Jeff.
Hi, Doug.
The internet was slow today.
Yeah, it's been glitching out on me like crazy all day
Me
today.
too. It was just slow, really slow.
Could be weather related.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah.
You think with our exploding trees and 40-mile-an-hour winds, 40 below wind chill, everything was 40.
Yeah, it was pretty wild for a
Oh,
while.
it's
It's better
crazy.
today, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's been a rough few days.
It's winter in Minnesota.
Yep.
It happens. There was a time when it was this cold. I was up north in Ely, of course, during 40 below weather. And
Sure.
it was below 40 below up there.
Yep.
And me and Joe had to install I would have to say about a quarter mile of cable through the woods during this
Oh, wow.
weather because we had a
Oh,
deadline
no.
with Discovery Channel.
Yeah.
We have to string coaxial cable from a bear den through the woods into a cabin that was, very warm and beautiful
Mhm.
because that was our power source. So we're up there with two other guys that are the tech guys inside the cabin. And so me and Joe are dressed in our really warm snowmobile suits. We're covered. I mean, we're hot. We go out and stuff and we are sweating.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, Joe, okay, so we got to crawl back in the cabin when we're done. So we got up to the front door and we just started acting like we were near death. Well, then we were just as toasty as you could imagine.
Right.
And so it just proves if you dress warm, though,
Yeah.
you can be fine. Even if
I've experienced under 40 below. That's like being on a different planet. That's hard to describe. It's
without clothes or with exposed skin. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, the
But
air
if
just
you're
hurts.
covered, you got mucklucks on,
Right.
and you've got a good snowmobile suit, and you're covered. Your head is covered. Just your eyes are there, exposed, and God, you could be out there. I could sleep out there.
I need to get a pair of the real mucklucks. Those are great.
Oh my God! You know why they work, don't you?
No.
It's because they're so flexible. They don't cut your blood circulation.
Oh, okay. They work great. Everyone I know that has them said they're just the best.
Oh, they're amazing. Yeah, you could be out forever. And Patty used to supply me free ones when I do these little expeditions. And she was so good to me in that way. But I definitely was a believer after the first trip.
Yeah.
Because your feet never get cold. Not even a little.
I've heard that from so many people that they're just the best.
Yeah, you have a wool lining, and then you have a very flexible moose hide boot.
Moose leather, yeah.
And then Patty she has a process where she would dip the boots in rubber. And so there's not even any sewing to stiffen them.
Right.
So
I'm wearing a pair of moccasins right now from her. They're great. Yeah, that rubber in the bottom. They're awesome. This is my second pair. I wore out my first pair.
Yeah. So anybody experiences cold feet, go get a pair of Steger mucklucks.
And these moccasins are great too. They're super comfortable and
yeah. And so I was up in Ely the last time I was up there. I took my daughter and we were talking about Will Steger's. She wanted a pair of mucklucks, so I took her to get her a pair. And she was talking about Will Steger and stuff. And we're sitting there in the parking lot. It was a really, really cold day, kind of like it was the other day, 40 below. And here comes Will out of the store through the parking lot to his car. And he looks at me. He slows down. And I used to know him really good.
Sure.
He looks at me and he's staring at me. And all of a sudden he comes to the window. He goes, Doug. And so my daughter got to meet him. And he's the guy, if people don't know, he walked unassisted.
Yeah.
To the North Pole.
Pretty amazing. Yeah. Tough guy.
Yeah. And
tough and brave.
He did the same in Antarctica. So
yeah, pretty impressive. I never met him, but yeah, pretty impressive accomplishments.
Yeah. So it's super nice guy. All right. What do we got here? Sorry, we got off. We started just doing our own podcast.
Is everybody still there? We started talking.
Yeah. Do we lose anybody?
Don't mind us.
All right. So anyhow, hello, everybody in chat. We love you. We're glad you're here. And yes, we do call you the Untoldians.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And just so you know, Untold Radio is in Facebook jail because I used the word science in tonight's description. And apparently that's dangerous to society.
Unbelievable.
I got a notice that was dangerous. It didn't hit community standards, and I just so you know, it's the sickest thing. So all you guys are outlaws because you're listening to
pirates, internet pirates.
We're going to talk a little bit about science. Oh my God! What I read stuff like that and I think, what teenager is in control? What purple-haired teenager is in control of this stuff? Anyhow.
Let's not even go there.
Not even going to go there. So anyhow, it's Sunday. It's still cold all over the country. So we just hope you can snuggle up to your phone, your computer, and then we are going to we're going to do tech day. I got a good tech breakdown. We've got clips. We've got even a little audience trivia. We've got a great guest, Ryan Edwards, tonight. Mm-hmm. And yes, we are going to talk about the forbidden topic of science with Ryan. The dangerous, it will not meet community standards. I guarantee you.
It never ends.
God, I just want to puke. Anyhow, I was going to do some other things, but I think we'll do our weird and fast news. But I think I sent you a couple of clips to show what it was like here in Minnesota. Here we go. There you go. Welcome to Minnesota and 40 below. And man, it was blowing. I couldn't even keep my Jeep on the road. It was nuts. So I think that's about all we have. Oh, there's another clip, I think, from Russia where they got just blasted too with snow in Western Russia. Now that's not scaled down. Look at that. Look at the thing they had to cut in the road. That's some crazy. Serious snow. That is not AI. This really happened there. Isn't that crazy?
Wow, look at that.
They had snow drifted past 20-story apartment buildings past the roof.
That's wild.
But they're fine. That's just what they deal with.
They just deal with it.
They just deal with it. They're just fine.
Tough people.
They hop out their 20-story window and slide down. It's just, they don't think anything of it. And I think kind of here, we're pretty used to this crap too.
Yeah, I've dealt with a lot of snow.
Yeah, we all
just get used to it.
All right, well, let's get on with our weird and fast news.
Weird and fast news. Here we go.
It's time for weird and fast news. Yeah! It's time for Weird and Fast News.
Now, for years and years, I have been talking about other animals that can see in the UV, and I've always suspected Bigfoot has no UV filters, so that means they can see UV. So they have more of a primitive eye. This is just a theory, but I kind of figured that watching bears. That hasn't been announced yet, but I've watched bears like eat one plant and one that looks just like it. They'll ignore it and go to another plant real far away. Why? Because I believe they can see the protein content using UV vision. Okay, so they've just now finally proven that deer can see in the UV spectrum. And one of the things that glows, one of the things they use it for is to see scrapes, which is just, isn't that fascinating?
Yeah, I bet that, a scrape, if a scrape is all, that would stick out like crazy.
Yeah, so it says new research shows that white-tailed deer have a secret visual language in the woods, one humans cannot see without special lights. Scientists in the University of Georgia found that deer scrapes, ground markings, and tree rubs where bucks scrape bark with their antlers emit a photoluminescent glow under ultraviolet light, invisible to the human eyes, but very likely, obviously, no scientists in the world can jump into a deer's body and see exactly what they see, but they do test that deer can very likely see UV light. So there you go.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm just, I was looking at the rest of it. Yeah, it's just kind of all the same, but I guarantee at some point, if we ever get data on Bigfoot, then we're going to find out that they also see in UV light.
Yeah, but won't surprise me at all.
Yes. Okay. Now the next thing, exploding trees. So there's viral claims all over the internet. I saw stuff on this too. People, and even our own weather service warned us. They showed a map. I got sent a map by the Weather Service that showed where the area of exploding tree risk. And that's an area usually where the temp drops really quick. The trees don't have time to acclimate, right? So, because, the sap, even in the winter, is moving up and down in a tree all the time. So it says here, did I just say a crosh? Across social media this week, viral claims have circulated that an extreme Arctic blast affecting the upper Midwest could make trees explode. Forecasters and weather accounts warned that the frigid air plunges temperatures deep below zero. The sap inside the tree trunks could freeze and expand and rupture the bark with a loud gunshot-like sound. It says meteorologists and forest groups explained that what's really going on involves pressure from freezing fluids. But basically they were saying that, they don't really explode, blah, 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 and it's all a myth. But man, did I find a lot of footage. I must have found 40 clips of exploding trees, and I even sent you one.
Yep.
You see that? Let's just play that real quick. There you go. Oh, that's not really exploding, is it?
Not really. That sound isn't quite accurate, I don't think, but
no.
Pretty cool.
Anyhow, so some scientists liken it to the noise of a bursting pipe. Let's see here. What else we have in Weird and Fast? Another tech break. Did I say take? I'm a little mealy mouth.
Are you losing
today. No, I haven't had much sleep in the last 3 days. Tech breakthrough. Deer detection. Another way of remember, we always keep talking about deer detection. It's a problem. I keep seeing dead deer along the road, and people
I've hit one. It's not fun.
It's not fun. So they keep working on technology to try to deal with this, to protect the deer and people and the cars, because the insurance companies are funding these studies. You get it? So they keep trying new widgets to stop collisions between deer and cars. On the cutting edge of vehicle safety, researchers presented a real-time deer detection system using thermal imaging and deep learning that could dramatically cut down in deer vehicle collisions. Deer collisions cause millions of dollars in damage and thousands of injuries annually in the U.S. So this innovation pairs thermal cameras and connected vehicle tech to alert drivers and roadside units within seconds of sensing a deer's heat signature. And apparently they did this. They used 12,000 thermal deer images and whatever, but they're basically communicating with your car. You'll get a warning.
Mm-hmm.
Car, there's a deer nearby, ready to cross the road. So that would be cool, right?
Yeah, man, I've had so many close calls.
And that way you can slow down.
Yeah.
If you're really a bad driver, you could speed up at that point. All right, then next, a strange Dorito-shaped UFO was reported over Area 51. It says a mysterious triangular-like Dorito-shaped aircraft. I think Doritos funded that description.
I've heard that description before. That's actually,
we'll just say triangle. Aircraft was spotted flying at night over the controversial U.S. military testing ground at Area 51 in Nevada. The sighting occurred around 3 a.m. and was captured on video. And of course, you can see that was a frame taken directly from the video right there.
Exactly.
Right,
it's an
Jeff?
actual picture. Absolutely.
Jeff will vouch for it.
Yeah, we were up there last night, remember?
Yeah. We were, yeah. That's a ticket. Well, that's where we were.
Eating Doritos, taking
I
pictures.
just couldn't remember.
Yeah. Big bag of Doritos in the camera.
Says observers say the object had a sharp, equilateral, triangular shape. Well, never mind. With no visible wings in an unusual rear edge, differing from a known aircraft like the B-2 Spirit bomber. Some researchers also noted the appearance of oddly specific snack-themed radio chatter just before the sighting, though this could be military jargon rather than coded messages. So there you go.
Interesting.
That would be cool. I have not seen a giant triangular craft. That would be cool.
Yeah, it would.
A guy that worked for me saw one once. He said it went over its house, and he couldn't really see it, but it blocked the stars as it went over.
Wow.
And he had gotten up in the middle of the night to go have a cigarette, and he saw that, and he thought, God, I'm going to think I was dreaming in the morning, so I'm going to flip the lampshade upside down. So he did that. And he goes and looks out.
Idea.
Yeah, he does that. And he goes out and looks out the front door. He's kind of spooked, right? And he claims he sees this giant wheeled vehicle coming down his road with aliens walking out in front of it.
Wow.
And I went, well, that must have really got you going. I said, did you flip another lampshade over? He goes, yeah, I did. So he flipped 2 lampshades over. So when he got up in the morning, he knew for sure that he had witnessed this, and it wasn't a dream. And yet he doesn't know why he didn't keep watching it. Just freaked him out. All right. Next.
Yeah, I bet.
Just call me sidetracked tonight.
It's all right.
This is a weird one. Well, let's skip that one. Let's go to the next one.
Okay.
The new obelisk, the mysterious RNA. All right. So they found these new obelisk things, and they're calling them RNA life forms. Now, this is interesting. And these are found inside humans, and they're actually categorizing it as a totally new kind of life. And this is found in, I think, all of our bodies. I'm sure you've got a billion of these, Jeff. Don't you think?
Probably. Who knows?
Yeah. It says scientists have uncovered a completely new class of microscopic genetic entities. I've never heard that term. Have you?
Genetic entities. No,
genetic.
I've heard that either.
You heard it here first, people. Genetic entities living inside humans that are so unusual that they're challenging how we define life itself. These tiny rod-shaped structures, dubbed obelisks, are made of circular RNA and were found in huge numbers in the mouths and guts of study volunteers. Unlike viruses, obelisks can carry genetic instructions that may code for proteins, blurring the line between inert genetic material and something closer to life. So I could read a lot more, but you'll have to look it up yourself.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, it makes you kind of itch, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So
what could go wrong?
What could go wrong with a genetic obelisk? Millions of them running around inside your body.
I mean, what RNA does, RNA kind of gives your body instructions to make stuff.
I know.
So that could.
That's weird. Yeah, and then what if they could be artificially like, oh, we want this group of people to lose, all of their common sense, and they inject them with something, and suddenly they have no more common sense, or they get really super smart, or who knows?
Crazy.
All right, giant wobbling black hole jet upends galaxy physics. There's an actual picture there. I think, Jeff, you took that yourself. Yeah, an actual photograph.
Early this morning I was out.
Yeah. That's a good job, Jeff. Astronomers have spotted something truly strange happening in the heart of a distant galaxy. Gigantic wobbling jet blasting out from a supermassive black hole. See, I always thought things are supposed to go into holes, not come out.
Yeah, that doesn't sound right.
It says researchers observed the black hole's jet oscillating in a direction over time, a motion that suggests the black hole itself might be twisting or processing in a way current models don't fully explain. This colossal cosmic structure stretches across hundreds of light years. That's enough said. Wow. Stay away from it. Stay away, right?
Yeah. What could go wrong?
What could go wrong? And that's it. That's all I got. Do you want to? That orb thing was kind of like, whatever.
Yeah. Moving on.
All right, moving on. Weird fact of the week.
Weird fact of the week.
It's now time for Untold Radio Weird Fact of the Week. That is kind of weird.
Hey, look at that. There I am.
Yeah, there you are. We'll put the damn weird fact up. There you go. All right. So it says here that your brain can hear silence and it hates it.
I've read about
this. In total silence, the brain often hallucinates. And I've experienced that, not hallucinating, but feeling uneasy up in the Arctic. Because you can't, you get a day up there, no wind, you can hear your heart beating and it drives you crazy.
Yeah.
It really does. It just, you feel like you're crawling out of your skin because it was so silent up there often. It says your brain can hear silence and it hates it. When humans are placed in perfectly silent environments, true science, like a, how do you pronounce it, Jeff? Anechoic?
Something like that. That sounds right.
Anechoic chamber. The brain doesn't relax. Yeah. I think we should build one and then charge people to go in it.
That'd be cool. I'd love to see one. There's one in the lab in Minneapolis that they kind of have a running.
Exclusive?
Well, they have like a reward for anyone that can stay there an hour, and no one's ever been able to do it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It says the brain doesn't relax; it starts to hallucinate. People begin hearing ringing, voices, music, or feeling intense anxiety. See, that's what I felt, anxiety, because the brain is so dependent on sound that without it, it starts generating its own noise to fill the void. So in experiments, most people cannot last more than 15 to 20 minutes in total silence. You're absolutely right. Before perception starts to distort. Absolute quiet doesn't calm the mind. It destabilizes it.
So it's unnatural. Nothing. There's in nature, you're never going to have that happen. So it's kind of.
Well, yeah, I just said you did.
Well,
up in the Arctic. Yeah, actually, I had a Native American because it was a really calm day, and it was guy's name was Knapp. It was the guy that the movie Never Cry Wolf, the native guy in that movie was based on.
Oh, cool.
And he took me out and he goes, you need to experience this. This will change your life. And he took me and he dropped me off probably, 10 miles from where he was going. And I had to stay there for like 3 hours. And he said, I'll pick you up and you'll be a different person.
Yeah.
And I could hear a marmot scratching its balls probably 5 miles away. I mean, it was weird. And then it would go silent and there was nothing except my own heart. You could hear that boom,
That's
boom.
pretty wild.
It was icky. Drew me nuts. All right. That's it on the weird fact of the week.
Okay.
A lot of people don't think about that. Silence. What do we want to do? We've got Ryan in the back room. Hey, Ryan, how are you? Wave.
There he is.
Waving. I have not met Ryan, so I'm looking forward to it. Let's see here. Let's do this. We've kind of been ignoring our poor audience. I have. We've got a great crowd. Even though we couldn't, Untold Radio couldn't do any marketing this week because we're such a danger to society.
Yeah.
Right. What did it say? Or something about. Yeah, we have to keep Facebook safe. So that's why we couldn't advertise because everybody was in danger.
Yes, we're obviously.
Oh my God.
A danger to society here.
I got have Alex sick on them. I'm not dealing with those jokers.
No thanks.
Let's see here. What do we got? Should we do trivia? Who wants to do some? It's kind of fun, baby animal trivia. It's just on names. Let's do that real quick.
It's now time for Untold Radio AM Audience Trivia. Who wants to play?
So who's gonna? So we're waiting. Who wants to do this? It's not a contest. It even says right there. See, Jeff, it got official. Look, it's official at the bottom.
Yeah, it's officially not a contest.
Yes, official.
Come on, who wants to play some trivia? It's pretty good. This is a fun one too.
Yeah, I know what we'll do. Ryan, do you want to play against an audience member? Just wave if you do. He's like, sure. No, but yeah, I will. Yeah, what the hell? So okay, you can come on, but I'm going to introduce you later officially. Anyhow, come on.
All right, a little Ryan sneak peek. Hi, Ryan.
Hey guys.
Hey, Ryan. It's good to meet you.
Good to be here.
Yeah. So anyhow, we got the opposite problem with Ryan. We got a really good mic on Ryan.
Yeah.
We had a guest last week, Ryan, and we couldn't hear him.
Yeah, good thing I moved closer because I know there's some echoing earlier, but hopefully I'm coming in well now.
Oh, yes. Yes, I would say.
Yep.
Loud and clear. Anyhow, okay. So who wants to play Ryan? People are going, hi, Ryan. Hi. Who wants to play? Does Lay want to play? Does Loretta? Does there anybody out there named Ryan want to play Ryan?
Minxie just volunteered.
Yeah, she goes, I could, but I didn't win.
It's not a contest. Nothing to win.
It didn't win the night. We'll go ahead and try again.
Sure.
We just don't want winners keep coming back. And we'll have not a prize. For
if
the
it's
winner.
not a contest, you can't win or lose.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Ryan. So this is on just animal names, baby animal names.
Okay.
So the first question.
We got Rogue here too. Rogue. We're going to Rogue Special Agent. We're just going to call him or her Rogue.
Is he going to? Okay, so we got all right. We got a three-way. We got Ryan. We got
Minxie and Rogue.
We got Rogue and Minxie. Okay. All right. Baby animal names. First question. What is the name for a baby hedgehog? Now, I can give you the names and then you can choose the thing. I'll do that. Make it easier. Is it hoglet? Is it a prickle? Is it a hedgelet or spike for a baby hedgehog? And it's A, hoglet, B, prickle, C, heglet, or D, spike. Ryan, do you want to go first? What's your guess?
I would go
A,
B.
B? Okay.
So
I'm going to write that down. We got D. Okay, so Ryan picked B. All right, and who's next here?
Minxie said Spike, D.
Okay.
And what does Rogue say?
And Rogue, if you don't answer quick, you're not. We're just gonna go. Buzzer.
Looking it up.
I'm gonna get you a buzzer, Jeff.
Tick, 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 tick. And time's up. Move on.
All right.
All right.
Where's that music I hate? All right. I don't know what happened to Jeff. He's just like he hit the wrong button, I think.
Uh-oh.
All right. Oh, he's back. There he is.
Yeah, I got booted somehow.
No, you didn't get booted. You hit the wrong button.
I don't think so. It just bounced out.
All right.
The button hits.
So the correct answer is, did David come through with an answer? I don't see it. I don't see David's answer. Okay, the right answer is A. It is hoglet. So Ryan or Minxie did not get it right.
Nope.
Question 2. What do you call a baby swan? And I am not going to give you guys, you just have to tell me. So Ryan, you got to go first. So just take a guess. What do they call a baby swan?
Swanlet?
A swanlet, okay. And Minxie, what would you say? Or David? Just go ahead and throw some names out there. Legos. And David, you were wrong. Spike. He said Spike for the last one. Anyhow, what do you call baby swan? And
Rogue says swanlet.
Rogue says swanlet. Okay, what
makes good guess?
It's amazing how the internet delays things.
Yeah.
It goes signet. And it is a signet spelled with a C.
Yep. Okay. It's we'll give Minxie gets a point for that one. Minxie's on the board.
Yep, Minxie's on the board. She got one. Okay. We got 0. All right. Next. This one's a hard one. What do you call a baby platypus? What do you call a baby platypus? Is it a pup? Is it a kit? Is it a puggle? Or is it a joey? So it's A, pup, B, kit, C, puggle, and D, joey. What do you call a baby platypus? Ryan?
It's not a marsupial, so would you call it a joey?
I don't know.
I'll go with joey.
Joey, okay. So Ryan is picking D, okay? And what's say?
Rogue said puggle.
Puggle for
What did
Rogue.
Minxie say?
I see.
And Minxie?
Waiting on Minxie to answer.
Come on, Minxie.
I think everyone's lagging tonight.
Yeah, I think we lost a lot of internet chains in the cold weather and the snowstorms.
Yeah.
All right, so the correct answer is puggle.
So Minxie and Rogue each get a point.
So she's got 2 points now.
Yep.
Everybody else 0. All right, here we go. Question 4. What is the correct name for a baby donkey? Is it a colt? A foal? B, a filly? C, or D, a jack? So A is colt, B is foal, C is filly, and D is jack.
Jack?
Yeah, jack. D, jack. So what do you think, Ryan? You're first.
Jack. D.
Jack? Okay. So
Minxie says Jack.
D, and who else says?
Minxie said Jack. Now we're waiting for Rogue.
Mary Joel says foal. Oh, Minxie says Jack, right?
Mm-hmm.
And did we get David's answer in?
Rogue said B, which is foal. And Rogue is right.
Yeah, Rogue is
foal,
right.
So, two
David,
2 and 2.
Did he get 2?
Yeah, so it's 2 for Rogue, 2 for Minxie.
Okay.
Not a baby animal guy.
Yeah, no, I know. Some people are, some not. That's like I failed the test too. So
I didn't know any of these.
Yvette gave it to me yesterday, and I completely failed. I got 2 right out of the whole test. So don't feel bad, Ryan. Okay, so and this stuff's like that doesn't really make you smarter. It's just kind of fun. Question 5: a baby porcupine is called A, spike, B, pricklet, C, a hoglet, or D, a porcupup. A, spike, B, pricklet, C, hoglet, or D, porcupup. That's a tough one to say. Ryan?
I think I'm at this point, I'm just saying what's the cutest name, and I think porcupup.
Porcupup. Okay, Ryan says D. Porcupup. And Mary says C. Marianne says D. Lay says D. Let's see.
Rogue says D. Porcupup. What does Minxie say?
Marianne also says hi, Kenny. So they're delivered. And Marianne also said hi, honey. But we have a very friendly Minxie.
Love is in the air.
Jack.
Minxie said C. Hoglet. Well, no one was right, unfortunately.
Nobody. What happened to Mr. Rogue? Where'd Rogue Agent
Rogue
go?
said D. Porcupup.
Oh, and the answer is Jeff. It's a pricklet.
Pricklet.
That's a nice name to call somebody.
I just want to address this comment here. Michael, that is not what's going on. We actually looked for volunteers, and the first couple that volunteered are in. So if you were watching at the right time, you could have been one of the volunteers as well.
Yes, sir. You don't need to
There's
be
no special membership. It's just the first couple people to speak up. That's what happened.
Yeah, it's not a contest.
It's not a contest.
And there's no prize.
No prizes, not a contest.
Although I might mail the winner something.
Maybe.
If I want to, maybe.
Not a prize, not a contest.
No.
The prize is knowledge. You learn new things.
We all win.
Yeah.
Okay, what do we got next? Just give me a sec here. All right, this is question 6. What do you call a baby frog? A, tadpole, B, pollywog, C, froglet, or D? I'm not telling you what D is. I'm not going to tell you what D is. Okay. I shouldn't even have mentioned. Just forget there. Yeah, okay. D is all of the above.
Yeah, D. Good.
Tadpole, pollywog, froglet, all of the above. Could be a trick question, Ryan.
Good. Amphibians have multiple growth stages.
Loretta says tadpole.
Minxie said D.
D. Ryan says D.
Tadpole.
Ray says D. David
the
Birch
answer
says
is
D.
And the answer is D, all the above. So a point for Ryan and a point for who else said D? Minxie.
Yeah, because it's tadpole.
Yeah.
Froglet's the last one. Dolt and yeah.
There you
so
go.
Minxie with 3 points, Rogue with 2, Ryan with 1.
Okay, the next one nobody's gonna get.
Nope.
All I'm gonna do is say I'm not gonna give you multiple choice. A baby puffin goes by what name? A baby puffin bird. They live like in Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
Some of the northern rocky coastline. I've never seen a puffin in real life for some reason.
I don't know that I have either.
They're so cool looking.
They are.
Got to see one. I've been in puffin areas, but never saw one. Anyhow, they're my favorite bird. But what do you call a puffin, Ryan? Take a guess.
Pufflet. Yeah, pufflet.
Pufflet? Okay. Ryan says pufflet.
Minxie said pufflet too.
Okay.
What does Rogue say?
I don't want to say it just sounds too basic.
It is. Come on, Rogue. You're about to you're getting the 3-second countdown.
Puffin.
Puffin?
Sure, why not? It's not right, but it's a pretty good guess.
It is called a puffling. A puffling. 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 All right. And then the next one, I think everybody might probably know the answer.
Yeah.
What is a baby kangaroo called? Is it A, a cub, B, a pup, C, a joey, D, a rootlet? This is the official name. What do you call a baby kangaroo?
C.
A, cub, and what do you say in there, Ryan?
C.
Okay.
Yep.
Joey,
Everyone's right on that one. Joey. So
Joey,
Minxie has the most points, but didn't win anything because on a contest. So if you want to accidentally, Minxie, send me your contact information. I know you've sent it before. Send it again.
Yeah, send it again, and you might.
You win anything. Might send
something.
Might not. Not really a contest. Whatever.
Okay. Anyhow.
Moving on.
Yeah, moving on. Let's see here. We're going to be talking with Ryan in just a few minutes here, and I cannot wait to. All right, let's do clip picks of the week.
Okay.
But let's just zip through them really quick. You can even cut them off short, all of them.
Clips. All right, here we go.
All right. Frozen rain is no fun. It just happened all over the country. But go ahead and show this because it'll make you a brand new one. Ice is still there.
I've actually done that.
Oh, it's so fun. All right. Next. All right. Clip 2. This is a really cool. Okay. I really want to do this, and let's just do it real quick. Go ahead and play it, but I may cut you off.
So my friends just got this incredible $50 million listing.
Hold on. Jeff, this is a listing of a $50 million home in Minnesota. So if you had $50 million, why would you even want to live here is first dumb question. But it is an insane cool home. But I couldn't imagine owning something like that, right? Could you, Jeff, own something this big and this crazy? How would you?
I wouldn't even want it.
You'd have to have 100 people to clean it. Go ahead. Go ahead and run it.
Hey, let's go check this out. So there's actually 2 sets of gates here at this home just to get to this estate here. This is an unbelievable entrance.
You're welcomed here by 2 guest houses. Obviously gorgeous all 4 seasons in Minnesota.
I mean, going over a bridge to your property here in the lake, this feels like we're headed to our resort, like our private resort. This is crazy.
So you're about 30,000 square feet.
This is quite the entrance.
It's exquisite. I mean, honestly, walking in here, these views are unlike anything you'll ever see on another property in Minnesota. So the marble piece actually pushes back and goes up into the wall, and then the TV comes forward. Cooking, entertaining space.
Wow.
There are multiple hidden prep kitchens throughout the home as well. This is the start of the primary suite wing.
This entire area?
This entire wing,
okay.
Yes. Absolutely gorgeous. Stunning views. Every room has its own kind of flavor and personality, yet they blend really well together. And that's a really unique thing to see in a build this large. There's a panic room here that is bulletproof. So
this is bulletproof.
This is bulletproof.
And there's a bed in here. So in case you actually want to watch TV in here, you can, but
it doesn't block the view.
Yeah, it doesn't block.
Yeah. Space for all the grandkids, cousins, guests, all the kids to sleep. The best hiding spaces for hide and seek.
Yeah, if you play hide and go seek in this home, I don't think you're ever going to be found. This is incredible. I mean, right away, you have a whole workout spot.
I know. So you literally can come in here and do everything. This area right here is amazing.
This deserves its own moment.
Okay, so 2 things. Do not walk into that. That is glass. I have done it. It's so embarrassing. So this is the entrance actually into the salt cave.
Wow.
We've got pool. We've got lounge.
You have to have a salt cave in your house.
Doesn't everybody have one?
That's very fitting. I'm
getting one installed next
week.
Right? We didn't purposely do that.
Where are we even going? This feels like we're going into the past right now.
Rough on the walls, smooth on the handles. Staircases are all lit.
Catacombs?
And then the upside down tree.
So you come down
I'd
here,
be lost. I
a
wouldn't
bottle
be able
of
to find my
wine.
way
Or
anywhere.
this one.
I mean,
for starters. I used to be in a bowling league. Come on. Okay. I'm super competitive.
You're good at golf as well then?
I love golf.
Jeff, you forgot to add a bowling alley.
Wait, so you can tee off right here
That's
on
next
your own
month.
property?
Yep. Boathouse that is
Gosh, they
on the
active
water.
somehow.
This one is more elevated.
Well, I don't think
There's
I'd
no
want it
shortage of
because you'd
place
have
at
to
this property
walk
to
so
enjoy a
far
nice
to the
glass of
lake.
wine, but I would have to say this might be one of the top picks for me. You drive past this, and
That's
it
crazy.
really is an experience.
All right,
Just how
that's
this
enough.
Yeah, that's enough. I don't know how would you even. I don't even know how you want to live in a
I don't
place
know.
like that.
It's once in a while, you run into those, and you just like watch it and go, "Oh, yuck! I don't want something."
I mean, you'd
like
need a
that.
full-time staff just to maintain the house.
I mean, I wouldn't mind a garage that big.
Oh yeah, I'm down with that. Yeah, give me 30,000-foot garage.
I love
Sign
a
me up.
30,000-foot garage.
Yeah,
That'd be
I'm in.
fun. Right.
Yeah, I have no problem with that.
Good idea. Yeah, okay. I'll try to manifest it. Let's see here. What do we got? Clip 3. Sound is good. This is just a compilation of weird sounds. I think you're still in that house. Clip 3. What happened? Jeff, we froze. Ryan, wave your. Oh, there we go. What happened, Jeff? What's going on?
I don't know. I had it playing. Here we go. Let's
There we
try
go.
that again.
There you go. Wipe out.
It's pretty good. This is pretty.
This is perfect for our radio audience.
Yeah.
This is Spike. Nice. Did he just throw a Pringles can at his wife?
Yeah.
Oof.
Oh, how nice was that? Are you married, Ryan?
I am not.
You're not? Well, good. You don't have anybody to throw a Pringles can at then.
I think that's pretty common sense.
Okay.
I would hope so, at least.
All right, we got, let's see. Strange Art, clip 5.
Clip 5?
Clip 5, yeah, the sound is fine. This is just really weird. Just play it for a second. Squint your eyes. Okay, it's
This
just
is
two
absolutely
girls
wild. Look at this image with your eyes almost closed. Let me know in the comments who you see.
I'm sure we all have had time to see that. All right, now do the next one. Who has time for this kind of weird art? Fascinating, but okay, look at this now. Who gets the idea to do this? Crazy. There he goes. All right, enough. And then the last one, a guy he tries to make him.
that one did come through. That is
What?
the last one.
Oh, that was the best one.
Yeah. Well, hold on. You know what? Hold on. I can find.
It's a guy. No, it's not a big deal. It's a guy that goes out and he photographs garbage, and then he tries to make himself look like the piece of garbage he photographed, even if it's blown in the wind. And he does a really creative job. But it must have taken him forever to do this video.
Here, you know what?
What?
Yeah, I got it here.
Oh, you do? All right. See at the bottom, that's the garbage. The bottom's the garbage. He does a really good job. Like, who does this?
How do you even think of that?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I want to
Yeah. And all in motion, too.
Yeah, he's got that down perfectly. I'm just like, whoa, that's crazy. All right. Oh,
He's having fun.
Who has time? And then let's see. Clip 6 sounds good. This is just a second. It is the spark now it's been rumored, but they've proven that when an egg is fertilized, at the moment of fertilization, it puts out a zinc-powered spark. Go ahead. Actually, they can record the sound of it now, too. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, I've seen a couple clips like that. It's pretty
so
wild.
It produces sound and light the moment it's fertilized. All
definitely
right.
something going on there.
Yeah, it's definitely something going on. Clip 7. This is just a very cool illusion. Take about a second to see it. So you can see it's just a still image. You just where it's moving. All right, next.
Yeah.
All right, clip 8.
Moving.
Yeah, this is on acoustical levitation. And it's another experiment. I find this really fascinating. Clip 8.
I'd like to show you an example of levitating small objects with sound waves. So these sound waves move upward, and up above I have a glass plate which is going to reflect the sound back down again. And when the distance between the glass plate and the loudspeaker is just right, then those sound waves that are moving down will interfere constructively with the sound waves coming up and give us regions of high pressure and low pressure which don't move around. They stay in one spot.
But you don't even hear it.
As I said before, the distance between the reflector and the loudspeaker is just right. If I change it, and which I'm going to do, you'll see that this standing wave disappears and the balls are no longer suspended there. We've now set up the little loudspeaker and the reflector in front of this mirror, which is part of our Schlieren optic setup. And the purpose of that is to be able to actually see where there are
that crap.
Enough
of that crap. All right,
cool.
It is cool. Acoustical levitation. Clip 9. Sounds good. This is coming to a town near you. We are getting this many coyotes that are running around everywhere. But here's a case where they follow people
taking your dog for a walk
with dogs. This is happening. I'm reading reports weekly.
Hello, little coyote running right at me.
Having this
You
happen.
want to be friends? Do you want to be friends with my dog? Do you feel danger?
Kind of weird.
Very weird.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you have a lot of coyotes where you are, Ryan?
Good amount, but I live in a city, so not as much. Mostly here we get a lot of possums, raccoons, but a lot of deer in town.
Yeah. Yeah, they're adapting. Okay, clip 10. This is just a, sounds good. It's just a hagfish, but it's really cool footage of it. What a strange creature. Just an amazing place.
Wow.
You know, Ryan, of all the creatures that you study in cryptozoology, I'd say the hagfish is even weirder, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
People forget how amazing the natural world is.
Yeah.
Like, heck, look at bioluminescence, things like that. Like, there are animals, if you didn't know they existed, look alien to us.
Yeah. And that's, people use that as an argument against a lot of cryptids. They just think they're too bizarre to exist. And I'm like, have you seen the world? I mean, there's some crazy animals out there.
Yeah.
Why can't there be more that we just don't know about yet?
Go to HMS Beagle and go dredge up the bottom of the ocean, see what's down there. And some of those animals look completely alien to what we would even think about.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, not only do they look alien, but they operate in an alien way.
Yep.
Their physiology, they have many of them have different kinds of blood, different kinds of hearts.
Yes.
Brains, just everything is bizarre, like a squid. Like they have a LCD screen on their skin. They have a television screen on their skin. It's so bizarre. All right. So we're going to take just a real quick break. It's like 2 minutes, and then we're going to bring you on full. I'm going to introduce you, Ryan. We're going to get into it.
Of course.
Stand by.
They go to work, some don't come back. That's why I pray to the good up there. Please listen to my soldier prayer. If I I should die before this war is over. Please let my soul remain here on earth. Save heaven for the fallen soldier, for they deserve to go home first. The heaven gates will open wide. When I get there, I'll step aside. Pick her up at sunset, drive mud on the tires. Radio crackling, Hank smells like a half-burnt campfire. Burger King wrappers by her feet. She just laughed and said, boy, you live wild and free. There's a 5-year coke can rattling around. Rusty tackle box, couple of missing wrenches I never found. Stuff I won't ever find. That old Jeep's a mess, but she didn't seem to mind. She brushed my arm and stirred up my already dirty mind. It ain't no Cadillac, but it's mine. And right now it feels like the right place, right time. And my dirty Jeep smells like mud and gasoline. No t-shirt seats and a heart that beats too fast when she's next to me.
Science writer and cryptozoology researcher Matt Billy offers 400 reviews of the significant books in cryptozoology. Get your copy of Books and Beasts today from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or Kindle. Books and Beasts is also available directly from Hangar One Publishing.
And we're back.
And we are back. And I'm going to introduce, see how we put him right back in the back room.
Proper introduction.
And by the way, we're going to do tech breakdown where we're going to do it with Ryan.
Cool.
So we have tech breakdown coming. And we'll do that right kind of towards maybe the end of his interview. But I want to get his feedback.
Yeah.
All right. So Ryan, who the hell is Ryan Edwards? Who's this guy that we just brought on blind to play trivia? So he is a cryptozoologist from San Antonio, Texas. At a young age of 20, he released his first book, Cryptids of the World. He has since released his second and third book, Sasquatch, A Prehistory and Beyond Bigfoot. Ryan views cryptozoology as the naughty word scientific. He thinks it's a scientific field. I think so too.
I agree.
But Facebook doesn't. They think that's naughty. And he brings in a biological based perspective onto a field that is many times seen as pseudoscience. Ryan travels around the country educating others about his amazing interest in this field. So let's welcome officially Ryan Edwards.
Welcome back, Ryan. Hi.
Hey guys, official introduction, so it's good to be here.
Yeah, long time no see. Do you know a lot about baby animals? No.
I now know. I learned.
Okay, we won't talk about baby animals then. Okay. So, first question is, just so people kind of know where they stand. Do you think most, that includes Bigfoot and probably the more popular cryptids, Bigfoot, what is it? The Bigfoot, Dogman, and Mothman. Those are probably the top three. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd say, especially for North America, yeah, those are like the big three.
Yeah. Do you think they're flesh and blood or something else?
So with me, I come at it from a flesh and blood perspective, but I think it's a mix of both. For instance, Mothman and Dogman, they come at it from an idea of biologically, it's improbable for both of those animals to exist. but people still see them. So there's something else.
Yeah.
Sasquatch, when you break it down anatomically, like the morphology, the behavioral sets, the ecology, it makes sense biologically. But if you think of a 8-foot tall bipedal wolf, the leg structure alone doesn't work biologically. Mothman, for instance, people see a winged humanoid, which with 6 limbs doesn't exist with vertebrates. And so it's a kind of a mix of both the flesh and blood and more paranormal side of this research.
But what if it did? I mean, I've thought about this too, the same way you're thinking. Doesn't make any biological sense. But yet, what if it did? And what if, you know what I mean? What if we actually end up with a body someday and we're sitting going, well, that interview didn't age well.
And see, that's the thing too that I bring in, especially with like cryptozoology and paranormal research in total, is like Schrodinger's cat. Until it's measured, it's all things at once. That's why, for instance, like with cryptozoology, yes, I come at it from a biological perspective, but that doesn't mean I'm right. I could be wrong all day long. I could be saying the wrong stuff right now, and this interview is going to be taken 10 years later and thrown out the window. But it's still my perspective.
Right.
And I believe everyone's views and everyone's perspective should be brought in because, like, with any type of puzzle, all the pieces need to be here. And with different perspectives, we bring in those different pieces.
Well, let's just say there is such a thing as like these are, Lon Strickler calls them ultra terrestrials. Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
Kind of category of cryptids. What if these are ultra terrestrials and it's just something we don't know anything about, but they're also very flesh and blood, but they have a way of popping in and popping out, you know, because of whatever ability, who knows, maybe they don't even do it consciously. Right. What if there's a parallel universe that has, you know, lakes and woods and they have that kind of different evolution. And every once in a while they kind of slide over into our dimension and they don't even have any control over it. And they're like, what's going, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's kind of the idea of like, maybe not the idea of is it flesh and blood, but is it earthly? Is it something that evolved and adapted here on Earth?
Right.
Maybe like, for instance, like with Mothman or Dogman and other cryptids, maybe they are flesh and blood, but like what you said, from somewhere else. Somewhere where that anatomy and that morphology makes sense. And maybe that's the idea of like certain, because I believe, at least with my perspective, that some of these cryptids are from somewhere else. Like they are from maybe extraterrestrial to dimensional, but that brings in the idea too that if you're researching cryptids and they're coming from a portal, then you have to research the portal and the cryptid. It adds in a lot more research to it because if you're saying Bigfoot's coming from a UFO, then you have to prove the Bigfoot exists and the UFO exists at the same time.
Right. Did you? I don't know if you're a student of John Keel. I'm not really, but I'm aware of it. Where he kind of thinks all this weird stuff is all connected, including Bigfoot. Like even all cryptids are connected into this. What did Flat Rockland write? Paraphysical being or paraphysical object. And does your mind explode when you start thinking of all the possibilities?
To an extent, because like that's the type of thing that I bring in too, is like with cryptids, there's a subset I like to call paracryptozoology or paracryptids. These cryptids that you truly know cannot be like something that evolved here on Earth. Things like the Dogman phenomenon, Mothman, even things like some of these people seeing Bigfoots that are coming out of portals and things like that. And that's why I like to kind of compartmentalize it, but also have it still connected. It's kind of bringing in different perspectives and knowing that, okay, so what's the flesh and blood? That's my research. But there is other things going on, and I'm not.
But why can't it? But Ryan, why couldn't an ultra terrestrial be flesh and blood, have heart and flesh and blood, and be, you know what I mean?
Well, I don't mean that technically flesh and blood as in it's not flesh and blood. I mean more in perspective that it's adhering to earthly biological processes.
Okay,
Earthly,
good. That's well said.
Yeah, earthly evolutionary processes that we
That's
already concurrently know.
Yeah, I gotcha. Okay, so and that made perfect sense the way you explained it. So you're open to like a creature from another dimension popping in, and I think they're, because they must be flesh and blood. I mean,
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Because, for instance, with like the Dogman phenomenon, there's plenty of signs of them eating roadkill and them going over barbed wire and leaving hair and things like that. So there is something purposeful, biological going on there. But is it earthly or is it non-earthly? For instance, maybe if it's coming from somewhere else, maybe if that dimension or that other plane that's coming from, maybe it's still physical in that perspective, and this universe too. But maybe in that one, it makes sense that's bipedal in some way or somehow. But here on our known biological processes, it doesn't make sense here. Well, I mean, our earthly sense.
So, okay. Did you get interested in this topic because of an experience or a story that one of your grandparents told you, or was it just you were just kind of born with it? And like me, I kind of think back, why was I really interested in this, and why was I kind of open to the idea? And I think probably the first time I heard about Bigfoot, I think it scared me. I mean, did it scare you as a child? You know what I mean? Kind of unsettle you because suddenly there's a little bit more out there?
Kind of to an extent, because you have that idea of the fear of the unknown. But then once you research it, the unknown is no longer the unknown, it's now the known.
Yeah.
But how I got into this field was as a young kid, like most people. It's when you talk to most people in here in this research, most people start at a young age. I was, of course, like any young kid, loved dinosaurs, loved monsters, loved animals, and I found a perfect career in cryptozoology because it mixes a little bit of all of them. And one of my earliest memories is of this. I was, I believe, 5 or 6 years old, sitting on my couch in my living room. And as a kid, I guess I was the weird kid. I watched History Channel a lot. I watched History Channel on the news and stuff. And Monster Quest came on.
Yeah.
And there was a Thunderbird episode. And it was one of the witness replications. And you see the Thunderbird cross the screen. And at that point, I knew monsters are real. Okay, there's something out there that we don't know. And I started going to the library in my school and picking out all the Bigfoot books, all the Yeti books and all that, and started learning more about this and realizing, okay, there is a field to this. And at that point, as a kid, I loved animals. So, okay, let's bring in the animal side into this. Well, how can I bring in ideas of later on primatology, paleontology, things like that into this field and see that there's a lot of correlations where there shouldn't be. If these animals aren't real, if these things aren't real, then why are there correlations between known biological processes and the supposed not real monsters in the woods?
Yeah. But you did have a little bit of that fear mode, like, and I have to relate it to like your dad, and you're 5, and your dad says, "Go out and get the mail," or go, and you're just like, I can't do that. I just found out about Bigfoot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the fear of the unknown.
The unknown, yeah.
Because that's the thing that's kind of funny with me is because I didn't have a lot of firsthand. I've never had a Bigfoot sighting or a sighting with a cryptid or anything like that because I live in San Antonio, Texas, big city. So I don't think that there's a Bigfoot outside my window now because I'm living in middle of the city right now. But when I do go out in the wilderness and things like that, I don't have the fear of something like that happening. But I do have the kind of like, okay, I might know that, okay, everyone fears about bears and stuff like that. I might be the guy that when we go camping, okay, maybe we should worry about Bigfoot now because that's where my research is.
Right.
And bringing that perspective.
Although your home city could have Mothman flying around waiting to snatch you. That's always a possibility. People are seeing them in Chicago now.
It's a great city.
Yeah, they're seeing them, but they're seeing them in Chicago. I mean, that's
and even Houston, and back I believe in the 70s, had the Houston Batman, which was seen as like a Mothman-like creature. And that's also kind of a funny thing too. Living in San Antonio, there's a lot of cryptid-based ideas here. For instance, the well-known Tom Slick lived here in San Antonio, and there's actually a Tom Slick Drive in the medical center. And of course, Tom Slick was known for actually financing multiple Bigfoot and Yeti expeditions back in the 50s and the 60s. There's been several Bigfoot sightings near here. Watching, of course, Monster Quest, in one episode, Perrella, Texas appears when talking about the Chupacabra, and that's literally 40, 50 minutes south of me currently where I'm sitting. So I realized, okay, the Bigfoot and all this stuff isn't happening way out there, but there's some things happening closer to home. And of course, living in Texas, I also found out about East Texas and a large amount of Bigfoot research that occurs there as well.
Very interesting. So, sounds like Monster Quest had a bit of an effect on your life because you must have been just the right age when that came out.
Yeah, so I'm currently 24. So watching things like Monster Quest, I believe there was one on Discovery Channel called Mystery Travels, a couple of documentaries on Nat Geo, because I was a kid that I loved watching history shows, things about animals, and finding these shows, I'm like, okay, there's something a little bit more out there.
Right.
There's something to kind of ask questions about, because too many times we think we have all the answers, and how can we get to the answers without asking questions? And that's what cryptozoology and paranormal research does in the first place, is give us some questions that we can go and look for these things.
Well, it gave you an interest in science, it sounds like.
Yes, because that's one thing that I talk about a lot with cryptozoology is ology is in the name. It's a field. I try to tell people that cryptozoology is the first step of biology. You have to discover the animal. You have to research the animal before you can ever discover it. Because how can we bring in different perspectives into cryptozoology? Because cryptozoology is not just a bunch of people out there hunting for monsters, but it's a mix of zoology, primatology, biology, ecology, primatology, a lot of ologies today. But all these different perspectives are in one field in this supposedly pseudoscience.
Yeah. Pseudoscience. I hate that word. Absolutely hate it.
Maybe if you say the word pseudo in front of it, hopefully Facebook won't mark you.
Yeah. I should have said that. It's funny too, because I was writing it up. I'm going, I shouldn't do this. Shouldn't use that word. And I'm like, whatever. And then I instantly went into Facebook jail after Jeff posted it.
Yeah. Sorry about that, guys.
No, Alex will straighten it out. It's ridiculous. I mean, come on. It's absolutely ridiculous. What kind of society are we getting into? And yet you go on Facebook and they have all sorts of raunchy crap on there that's fine.
Yeah.
But anything educational, that's bad.
Things that are clearly AI generated that people still believe. That's one thing I tell people is like, ask the question is be educated to learn things, because first step of anything is uneducated populace. That's what you don't want. Is you want to be educated. You want to ask the questions.
Well, there's kind of a rash, of fakes. I saw fake thermal footage yesterday. I saw fake trail camera footage, fake trail camera pictures. It is getting harder to tell. I mean, AI is getting exponentially better every week.
That's why I don't do video analysis. When people bring me videos or photos and things like that, I'm like, unless it's something that you captured, I know for sure you captured in the field and you're the one with the exact same camera, I don't analyze it. Because, first of all, my eyes are not the best with glasses. So, first of all, I might not be able to see the little details. But second of all, how good AI has gotten, and there's always going to be hoaxers. I try to stick away from the video analysis because the waters are too murky now to really look at it like that.
Yeah. It is. Although there's a couple of tips. One, is there a beginning and a middle and an end? Meaning it's got to be, I mean, AI does a great job for 8 seconds.
Yeah.
And that's about it, the max. Most of the clips are 5. And the audio, you can't fake. It's really hard for people to act and fake audio. And so there should be some damn audio with it. I have kind of what I do, and I recommend everybody go and watch it. On our Untold Radio Network in the video section, there is a I call it red flag scoring system, and you can do it that way, and you can get pretty close to the truth. You may not be right, but it's, you know, when you get so many red flags on footage, then you can go, I'll just won't pay any attention to it at least. But like the Patterson, when you judge it with my footage or with my scoring system, it gets a perfect no flagged. There's not one flag.
Because that's one.
Go ahead.
Because like what you said with the beginning, middle, and end, of course we always see like the 5 seconds, but Patty, you have that film, you have a beginning, middle, and the end. It's just that on most televisions and most series, you don't play the whole set.
Right.
But when you see it, you see the full beginning, middle, and end. You see the flow of it.
Right. Plus, they collected physical evidence, footprint, the whole trackway, photographed the whole trackway. I mean, go on and on and on. It was multiple witnesses that were willing to testify. I mean, on and on. Those are the things that make red flags disappear.
Yes.
But you use my scoring system. I just really, if you have a photo or a video, go to the scoring system and score it. You'll be like mind blown how accurate it'll be. And I get into quite good detail on it. And that's what I still use. Doesn't mean there isn't room to be wrong. I could still be wrong. But at least at that point, I'm not wasting my time on it.
Yes.
Right. And that's all we can do. So well, let's talk about just, reading reports. Is there what would I say? Is there certain types of reports that you really think are worth investigating? I mean, what's kind of your gold standard report that you get or read?
Well, with mine, I get a little bit of a mix of everything. I do because I kind of like the idea like the classification system, like Class A, Class B, Class C. I do. Right. Everybody loves the Class A's. I saw something, it was there, it was daylight, but those aren't exactly common, especially when it comes to cryptid research. So I love ideas of like things of the quick second eyewitness accounts, people seeing something cross the road or something right in the field of their vision. And what I like to look at is going back and actually looking at the area and seeing what it makes sense for an animal to be here. For instance, sighting I researched a couple months ago, there was a rash of, not really a rash, but 2 supposed dogman reports here in San Antonio, Texas. And one of them happened at a park. And everyone's like, oh, it happened at this park. It had to be a dogman, all this. And I went on Google Maps, and I'm like, I know where that park is. I open it up, and it's right in the middle of downtown.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, what's the likelihood of there being a 8-foot-tall bipedal wolf walking around? Not very likely. Is it possible? Yes, but research is about probability, not just possibility. And there was another sighting that happened at a park called Hardburger Park, where a friend of mine has done research in Bigfoot sightings at that same area. So I'm like, okay, that adds a bit more likelihood. And trying to contact the eyewitness, I tried doing it multiple times, but could not get in contact with it. But I'm saying, okay, that's a possible sighting. Is it for sure? No, without talking to the eyewitness, I can't know for sure. But researching things like that, looking at, if you have an eyewitness, looking at the area where they've seen the creature or whatever phenomena they're seeing, and is it probable that an animal would be there? Like, one thing I like to do is talking to Bigfoot eyewitnesses is going back to the area and thinking like, okay, what would a Bigfoot be thinking? What would this animal be thinking? Is there a way for escape? Is there a way for it to cross? Is there a natural game trail already there? Looking at the environment and seeing, does it match with an animal being there?
Yeah. So you do enjoy like going to the site of the report And do you look for water often? I know Texas is obviously not as water filled, and eastern Texas might be, but
yeah.
but generally Texas doesn't have like the kind of lakes and rivers and streams that we do here. But is that one thing you look for? Watering holes, lakes, streams, canals?
So first thing I look for ecologically is water and greenways. Like a good friend of mine, and I know for a good friend of yours, Jason McLean talks about the green wall. Is there areas where even a large animal could move around human settlement? For instance, here in San Antonio, there is a creek system that comes through San Antonio with a corresponding area of parks and things like that where it's no humans go into. So, okay, there is a possible travel corridor. Second, is the food available? For instance, with Bigfoot, if it's an omnivore, so is there proper food that this animal could be eating in this area? And one major thing I look at is the local folklore, local oral traditions. Like, for instance, one thing I love looking at is indigenous tribes. Are there already indigenous tribe stories of creatures like this living in the area? And could that be correlating to the modern day phenomena?
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, a history of the area is kind of important. Isn't that hard though to look up history of creatures? Like, what do you like? Go to the library and look up an old microfiche? What do you do?
Yeah. So one thing I try to do is look at, for instance, like not microfiche, but I try to go to online and look through old newspaper reports and just simple looking up wild man or wolf or things like that and seeing if anything pops up. And as well as looking at some type of native traditions and see if I can find anything with research and what are old stories, what are things like that.
Right.
For instance, with the Dogman reports here in San Antonio, in Converse, Texas, which is a little bit north of here, there are stories of the Converse werewolf back in the 1800s. Story goes that a young man was killed by this giant walking wolf that walked on two legs. And does that old tradition correlate to the modern phenomena? Not necessarily, but we see that there's already a precognition of sightings in the area, so maybe that could correlate to the modern day phenomena occurring with modern day sightings.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what cryptids are you most interested in? If you get a cryptid like kind of even a non-categoried cryptid, do you have interest in it? Do you kind of blow it off, or do you investigate those reports?
I try to investigate everything. From one of the major things I research a lot of is these unknown primates seen around the United States. Not just Bigfoot, but also another cryptid that's a really thing I really get interested in is devil monkeys. These sightings of large baboon-like primates seen around the country, especially along the Appalachian trails, parts of the Ozarks, and even parts of Texas.
What do they call them, Ryan? What do they call those?
Devil monkeys. The term comes from Mark Hall and Lauren Coleman. While researching Bigfoot back in the 60s and 70s, they discovered that there were something else going on here. There is sightings of these large baboon-like animals around the country. And the stories go of these being moving in small troops, I guess you would call them troops because they're primates. And being that these aren't Bigfoot, they have baboon-like muscles. Imagine like a modern baboon, but about the size of a human. And that's what these sightings have been occurring around, especially in the South, along the Ozarks and the Appalachian trails. And they usually do correlate to waterways. For instance, one thing always brought up is waterways. Legend of Odd Creek, it always falls for creeks, is a line in that movie. And that's one thing that is always brought up, especially with Bigfoot sightings and a lot of cryptid sightings are waterways. But I do love researching any type of cryptids. I love looking at like Bigfoot sightings. Dogman's kind of the new, I like to call it the new kid on the block. It's the new big cryptid nowadays that people see. Yeah. And I love researching it because it's just so interesting what people are reporting and the ideas of, is this a being that it is flesh and blood because there's a lot of signs of them killing animals, eating roadkill, things like that. But what are these creatures? Are they ultra-dimensional? Are they from maybe some type of other plane of existence that face through to ours? It's just so interesting talking to eyewitnesses, especially the psychological effects of these animals, because when it comes to the dogman phenomena, it's a lot more fear, I feel, than the Bigfoot research. Like talking to a Bigfoot eyewitness, you get fear, but not the innate fear that these dogman creatures start. And it's funny how so many eyewitnesses always, it's almost like it concurrently talk about how this animal could have got me, this monster could have got me, but it didn't. It didn't. So it's just weird how you find a correlation between eyewitnesses around the country that have never talked to each other talking about the same thing.
So I always do wonder if, well, I did wonder a lot whether dogmen were just Bigfoots that were different, like these baboon-like creatures that people are reporting. Do you think there's any possibility of mix-up? Or do you think the people reporting dogmen are seeing dogmen? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the thing too, is I like to call it the name game. Is that now we have people bring up the name dogman a lot. And it's funny because a lot of people like to go back at some Bigfoot sightings that were once Bigfoot sightings. They're like, well, that might sound like a dogman now. And there might be a big mix-up between eyewitnesses because they're both fairly similar in morphologies. They're both tall, hairy, usually black to brown colored. But then it comes to the head shape. You have to look at the head shape and the legs. But even people report having dogman sightings with these animals having human-like legs, but a canine-like snout and muzzle. So are these different from the dogman that other people are saying with digitigrade legs? Are these misidentifications of Sasquatch? And that's one thing I bring in with people is talking about the psychology of it. Is that with a lot of people, when they're doing Bigfoot or dogman research, they might be looking for this creature. And when you're looking for something, you're more likely to see it, of course. That's how the human brain works. Pareidolia, matrixing. So when you are looking for Bigfoot research, you might see something that maybe was dogman might be a Bigfoot now. If you're doing dogman research, you're going to be finding dogman evidence, not necessarily Bigfoot evidence in a Bigfoot area.
That's true. Yeah.
And that's one thing I try to talk to people is now that dogman is a new kid on the block, a lot of people are seeing more dogman sightings than Bigfoot sightings. And could it be because it's more, I guess you can say, on the brain now? It's more known now. But is it because these animals were always here? Or is it just because psychologically our culture knows about them more now?
It's true. By the way, we have a kind of it's almost 20 seconds lag going on. You have a decent internet connection, don't you, Ryan?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm going to have you just log out and just pop right back in.
Cool.
Just click the off, like shut your software and then just open it back up again and click right back in.
Gotcha. So leave studio and come back in?
Yep. Well, we'll get the lag fixed. Hopefully.
Gotcha.
We'll try it. Go ahead.
That's it.
Jeff? Are you seeing lag, Doug?
I see a lot of lag.
Oh,
people are complaining about it. Yeah. Somebody says, who's the ventriloquist? Because the lag is so bad.
Yeah, it doesn't look that bad on my
it's bad. Yeah. I'm seeing it.
Weird.
It just would be nice to get rid of it. It's all irritating like anything. But the internet has been a little slow today.
It's been my computer's been weird all day. The internet's been weird all day.
Don't know what's going on. Imagine there's a lot of people or a lot of power lines and internet lines that are covered in ice.
Yeah.
There we go. Ryan's back. Sorry about that. All right, Ryan.
Back.
Is there a lag now, or?
No, it looks better. Way better to me. I don't see it. Yeah.
So. It's freezing up because it's cold outside, maybe. Us Texans aren't used to the cold.
How bad is it there?
I think currently it's 20, 30 degrees. I know that's probably nothing to you guys, but
that's
t-shirt weather.
We're not so used to that down here. We're used to 100, 120 degrees.
Yeah, everybody be wearing shorts and t-shirts.
Yeah,
if we had that weather, and that drives me nuts. Like it'll be like 20 degrees, 15 degrees, and all the guys are out there with their shorts on and their t-shirts, and I'm like, okay, whatever.
It's an idea of perspective. I get a lot of people from living here in Texas. If you move up north, like, oh yeah, we can't stand the cold, but then a lot of people come from north down here in the summer. It's like it's 90 degrees, 110 degrees. It's way too hot for most people.
Okay, so let's just kind of back the truck up a little bit. I do want to talk about these baboon type creatures. How many reports have you read about or heard about? Is this kind of a common thing?
It's not as common as, for instance, like Bigfoot. Okay. There's been a couple dozen, maybe, I'd say maybe less than 100 reports that are known on file.
Okay.
Most sightings occur from, I'd say, up probably north of Tennessee, along the Appalachian Trail, down to parts of Louisiana, parts of Mississippi. It's kind of a mostly southerly cryptid. You have some sightings in the west, parts of Oregon, things like that, but it's very rare. People report seeing these like giant baboons. A well-known possible photo was actually taken in Louisiana. It's called a DeRidder roadkill photo. Yeah. In 1996, along Highway 12 outside DeRidder, Louisiana, there was this weird creature hit by a car that they found, and people called it looked like a giant monkey. But later on, there were photos taken, and the local sheriff said, well, it's nothing but a dead Pomeranian dog. It's just a dead dog. But when you look at the photos, there's people in the background showing that this animal's about the size of maybe a border collie to about a fairly big sized dog, but it has a shortened muzzle, has almost human-like hands, and this long fur coming off the shoulders. And that's what these devil monkeys are reported seeing. People report animals with 3 toes, which is the interesting fact, is that these things are seen with 3 toes, and that's a very uncommon phenomenon within primates. The only known primate missing any type of digits is the spider monkey, and it's missing the thumb, because the thumb is not necessary for it to grab branches.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. I didn't know that, Ryan.
It only grabs it with its fingers. But these creatures are seen with 3 toes. And that's something I bring up in my 3rd book, Beyond Bigfoot. Could this be some type of periphodactyly, which is an idea that the toes fuse? There is a culture in sub-Saharan Africa called the ostrich people. These people, their toes merge to form almost like 2 giant toes, like an ostrich foot. And could these primates, because they're living in smaller areas, probably smaller communities, be having some type of genetic dystrophy that causes a morphological distress level?
Yeah, another word, they're inbred.
Yeah, inbred, yes. And it's interesting because these devil monkeys are seen in same areas as Bigfoot, but they're seen as more aggressive than Sasquatch.
Well, I always thought devil monkeys were like small. I didn't know people were reporting these really big ones.
Yeah, there's stories of them being from maybe, if they stood up on their hind feet, maybe 6 feet tall, maybe 4 feet tall, larger than known baboons. And that's one thing, is that maybe could it be a misidentification of a known baboon, maybe a escapee, but these things are larger than known primates.
Yeah, baboons really aren't very big.
Yeah, unless you look at like prehistory. Like, have you ever heard of Dinopithecus before?
No.
So Dinopithecus was a baboon. It was a pongoid, which not pongoids, papionins. Papionins are the large terrestrial primates like Therapithecus, baboons. But Dinopithecus lived about 1 million years ago and was about the size of a man. And these animals moved in large troops and actually hunted early hominins like Australopithecines and Paranthropus. So our own human ancestors were hunted by giant baboons, and there's been caves found in Kenya where these Dinopithecus skulls are found, and there's also Epiphysean skeletons found right alongside them. And that brings into question, were the Dinopithecus hunting Australopithecus, the early hominins, or was it the other way around? But these animals are truly monstrous. And I bring in, okay, so there is a biological precedent for a large terrestrial baboon-like animal, but could these creatures be living in North America? Not necessarily, because there's no land bridges, but if it existed once, if that animal evolved once, why wouldn't it evolve nowadays? And that's why I love looking at prehistory, because a lot of times in modern context of cryptozoology, paleontology might have the actual answers, because there's a lot of correlations between modern cryptids and prehistoric North America.
Yeah. You know, it's one of the most interesting books I ever read many, many years ago was the book by Esteban Sarmiento called Extinct Humans. And it's just something the way, you know, it's the perspective he wrote the whole book from. But of all these different basically, they're all distinct humans. And I think about Bigfoot, then it's kind of in that same category. Is it just another type of human? Is that the way you kind of look at it too? Like it's human, but just another category that still survives.
With me, I don't believe Bigfoot comes into the more hominin idea of like being human. I think it's a hominid. I think it's a non-human primate that convergently evolved to become human-like. Okay. Because there's kind of a principle to human evolution. That's kind of funny. For millions of years, we were not the only humans. We had Paranthropus, we had Neanderthals, we had Homo denisova, we had Homo floresiensis, we had all these other human-like beings living alongside us that were also human until like the last 10,000 years when the last Neanderthals died out. So for millions of years in our evolution, we were not alone. Why would we be alone now? So I believe there are other human species living alongside us that just have hidden away from us and that know better than to interact with us. For instance, the Almas in Russia, these Neanderthal-like creatures. Bigfoot, I believe, is a non-human primate, just mostly because of the behavioral set it demonstrates and the anatomy it has.
So, okay. Well, let's talk a little bit more about their intelligence, Bigfoot's intelligence. Where would you kind of rate that on a scale? Let's say an average human being is a 10, okay? Where would you rate their intelligence in 3 categories? Tool making, woods-wise, and as a hunter. How would you rate those, you know what I mean, compared to a human hunter? Where would you rate Bigfoot? Let's start there.
So first one, tool making, I would say about a 9 to an 8 as an average human. But as wood-wise, knowing the woods and hunting, I would put it beyond human.
Yeah.
Because I think Bigfoot has human-like intelligence, but it just got put in a different area.
Right.
Humans, we have religion, we have science, we have philosophy. I don't think Bigfoot needs that. I think it found its intelligence, it found its niche.
Right.
Because with adaptations, you have a niche where if you find an area where you're comfortable, you're going to stay there. It's like I tell people, if you have a good job, it pays you well, you like your job, why quit it? So I think Bigfoot found its job. It found its niche. It knows the environment, knows the woods. It uses it to avoid us because I know these animals are highly intelligent. Are they on human-like levels? Most likely, yes. But they are able to avoid us because they know the environment so well. Because
so you feel they're absolutely on purpose, a conscious decision to avoid us.
Yes.
Because it'd be in danger if they with us.
And it's funny because I kind of bring in ideas of look at the native traditions. Native traditions talk about at times when the wild men, these Bigfoot-like animals lived almost alongside them. They were fairly I guess, closer in relation than we are now. But then again, look what happened to Native Americans. Look what happened to indigenous cultures around the globe. They were coinciding with nature. They were coinciding with the planet, with wild animals, things like that. But when colonizers come in, when Europeans come in, they destroy nature. They destroy areas for wild animals to live in and destroy these indigenous cultures. Maybe that's why Sasquatch has moved farther and farther away from man, because they see the destruction of it. Not trying to make this like a philosophical discussion, but maybe Sasquatch sees the destruction of man and has moved it farther away because they know, I don't want to be the next animal that goes extinct. I don't want to be the next being that ends up on a chopping block for humanity, because how many animals we've killed off throughout the millennia of our existence.
Right.
Maybe it does want to be the next one.
Yeah, obviously, a lot of these different human species hunted each other.
Yeah.
And there's got to be a lot of ancient memories of all sorts of conflict. And obviously we lost a lot of the species are gone. They're extinct. What happened to them? Was it weather related? Was it space related from a comet? What happened? Or did they just kill them off? Just like we might get killed off when we start interacting with aliens, right? They might decide to get rid of us. We don't know.
Yes, because we do know that we did interact with early hominids. We interact with other human-like species. And that's something that I've been hearing a lot recently, is that maybe why you've probably heard of the uncanny valley before. Mm-hmm. The fear of something that's human but not. Maybe that's where that originates from. Seeing other human-like species and having that innate fear that it's human, but it's not human. It's us, but it's not us.
What word did you call that, or what phrase?
The uncanny valley.
Okay, I still could know, Jeff. Jeff, somebody tell me what it is.
The uncanny valley. Yeah, it's you explained it pretty well. Yeah, it's that unsettling feeling when something. Like you kind of get that when you watch AI, when you kind of figure out that it's not quite right. It's a weird, unsettling feeling.
Yeah.
And the term for that is the uncanny valley.
I've never heard that term. I love that term.
Yeah,
it's a good term.
It's when you see like an animatronic and stuff like that. You're like a human animatronic that's moving that it's so robotic. It looks human-like, but it's not human.
Well, you can tell. Yeah, something's wrong. Yeah.
People think that might originate from interacting with other human-like species, and maybe even interacting with things like Bigfoot in our early evolution. Because if you were a human living out in the prairie or out in somewhere with a spear, and you see a 7-8 foot tall giant that looks human, but it's not human, maybe it would make you have a fear of that. That's kind of like what you said earlier, a genetic memory.
Yeah,
that's kind of coherent in our genes and in our psychology.
Yeah, it's getting to be kind of a new science about genetic memory and, how it can last thousands of years. That's why I keep remembering chiseling stone. I'm just joking. Do you think that Bigfoots are purposely avoiding trail cams because they see them and they're just an odd object, or do you think they know what the hell they are and they're avoiding them because they don't want their picture taken? Kind of where do you stand on all that? Jim Zachman asked that question. It's a good point.
Okay, when it comes to trail cameras, I think there's two reasons they avoid them. For one, I think what you guys discussed earlier before I came on was UV light. I think they can see the light coming from the night vision coming from them. And second of all,
well, that's IR. That's IR.
IR.
But UV is different. We do have an IR filter, and we have a UV filter.
Yeah.
And if you don't have those, that's more of a crude eye, because a lot of people are like, well, why would they have a more advanced eye than we? No. That's a cruder eye. But it would allow them to see protein content in plants, in fruit. It would allow them to see animal urine in the woods for hunting purposes.
Yeah.
No, we don't need any of that. If you want to see what a Bigfoot would see, take a UV flashlight. They're like, what, $6?
Yeah.
You can get one at $6.
They're super cheap.
Bring it into your bathroom.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
You will see.
Don't do that.
You will see pee splattered all over your walls.
That's a bad
and
idea.
You'll be like,
I learned that one the hard way. Don't do that.
Don't travel with it either.
Freak you out. Or if you have animals, if you
Yeah.
have dogs or cats, go around your house with it, and you'll go, "Oh my God, do I need to clean?"
Yeah.
And that's. But think about how good that could aid you, Ryan, in hunting. Yeah. I mean, you'd be able to see a toad. You know, toads urinate every few seconds. You'd be able to find toads and small mammals and big mammals, and it'd be amazing.
It'd be really helpful, but also I think we're seeing IR light too on the other side.
There you go.
I'm trying to remember on the visible spectrum. I'm trying to think it's on the other side of the spectrum of light. That would also be helpful because that aids a lot with night vision. And I believe these animals can see IR light because known animals can do it. We know caribou can see IR light.
Well, that's okay, but they haven't proven on IR and caribou. It was UV light that they did.
UV,
and IR is totally a different deal, but
it's on the other side of the spectrum.
But they're related. It's on the other side of the spectrum, exactly. But to me, I think if you can see UV, you probably can see IR.
Yes.
So I think we're both right.
Yeah. And then the second part of the trail camera question is that I think they can just tell when they're there, because what we talk about is these animals know their environments. They know it's their backyard. If someone came in your front, because someone came into your living room, moved stuff around in your house, you would probably be able to tell that stuff got moved. Or if someone went and added something into your bedroom, you might be able to notice it, because to these animals, the woods are their bedroom. And it's an interesting fact too. Back in the early 2000s, they've done research on chimps and trail cameras, research into what we call novel stimuli, of putting trail cameras in parts of the Congo and seeing if chimps interact with them. And there's been research that's shown that when it comes to trail cameras, chimps, a known primate, avoids them. When they're in groups, they're more likely to be seen by a trail camera, because when you're in a group, they're a little bit more boisterous, they're a little bit more confident. But when it's a lone chimp, there's almost no trail camera photos of lone chimps.
That's interesting. That's a good point, Ryan.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're not as confident. So if a known primate can detect a trail camera, because if it's a novel stimuli, it can be the scent, it can be the sight, it can be anything like that. If a known primate can do it, why would an unknown primate do it?
And they also might be able to sense the electromagnetic field. I mean, anything with the batteries to kick out EMF, maybe they could sense that. Who knows?
Yeah. Some people have brought up ideas that maybe Sasquatch could detect like electromagnetic fields and things like that. Maybe that's why I've heard some people bring up ideas that maybe that's why they don't go near cities, because of all the electromagnetic fields near cities.
Sure. Okay, we're going to talk about that. I had this thought, it just went bink right out of my brain. What the hell was? Oh, suddenly I feel 90. I don't know what the hell I was gonna say. I just completely lost my train of thought. What causes that, Jeff? Is it just old age?
Probably.
Oh, thanks.
I don't think old age, because I do the same thing.
Yeah, I do too.
Oh my God. Okay.
Walk into a room and forget why you walked in there.
Oh my God. Okay, trail cams. Oh, I know what I was gonna say. Did you ever read that study that they did on wolves and trail cams, and realized they had never photographed the alpha male in a wolf pack, that they had always avoided? They only got, the betas. They never got the alphas on trail cams. That really hit home for me. What do you think about that?
Again, shows that maybe it could be, where being the alpha male, they would have the ability to maybe detect something like that. But it's also funny how the alpha male is not detected, but the subordinates are. That's kind of interesting because of the pack structure of wolves. Could the alpha male be maybe doing a test of like, you guys go see if that's safe and I'll stay back here? Or could it be that the alpha male has the experience to know that that's a human device, let's avoid it.
Right.
But even with the same ideas, is that think of trapping. When you go and trap animals, a lot of people say, especially with wolves, things like that, you usually get the younger ones.
Yeah.
You don't get the older ones, like the alphas and things like that. And that's something I bring up, especially with Bigfoot. The big alpha male Sasquatches are probably never ever seen by humans because they know that probably by a certain age.
Oh, I love this topic.
They know to avoid humans, because I personally think that Sasquatch at a young age are taught to avoid humans. And this brings up the ideas of culture, which is really interesting because Jane Goodall was once almost thrown out of the scientific field because she used the word culture when it came to chimps.
Okay.
We can't use a human word for a non-human animal, but we know these animals have culture. And I think Sasquatch do too. And I believe that most sightings when you come to Sasquatch are either lone ones that are just trying to get from point A to point B as quickly as they can, or maybe the younger ones that are a little bit more, I don't know, acting like teenage humans, maybe a little bit more boisterous, a little bit more confident. Or maybe it could be the ones that are truly trying to get near humans because they're trying to find either like food or things like that. Like how when animals get sick and old, a lot of predators, they go looking for human areas to get trash and stuff like that. But I think the large alpha males or females or whoever, how they are having their family structures, which I most likely think are Noy owls, most likely know by a certain age, I guess you would say, have the idea to stay away from humans that are never seen by humans. So
is it possible, Ryan, that most sightings, I'm just going to throw this out to everybody, including you, Ryan, but to the world, this is not talked about much. Do you think most sightings are females that have purposely allowed themselves to be seen to distract from their young that are stashed? In other words, they're postpartum and somebody comes around and they put their self out there to distract. Is that a possibility? So the question or the hypothesis is, are female Bigfoot seen more than males?
That is a possibility, but I kind of have an idea that these animals would use distraction, of course. And could it be females? Most likely, yes, because a lot of research has suggested that Bigfoots have a family structure called the Noy owl. The late Jeff Meldrum talked about family structures with Bigfoot, and he talked about these having a family structure called Noy owls. These are when there's one large male in one territory and a bunch of females living in the same territory, but they're broken up. They're not living like one big troop, like a gorilla. And it's interesting because you see this correlated with Bigfoot footprints. You don't see a lot of male footprints with Sasquatch, but you see a lot of the smaller female ones because there is a known kind of idea of like the group of like this is female, this is male because of the foot size, because there is a sexual dimorphism. And it's interesting that we bring up Noy owls because there are known two groups of primates that use the same family structure.
Let's define sexual dimorphism. That just means the females are much smaller than the males, basically.
Yes. Think silverback gorilla compared to a grown female gorilla.
Right.
Big difference.
Okay, but once again, do you think it's mainly juveniles and females that are seen?
I believe so. I believe the males. I think the males that we do see are kind of like the bachelor males, the ones moving from group to group, moving into a new area. Because I think these animals have a huge territory, probably hundreds of square miles or even more. And I think the bachelor males are the ones that I mostly see. The large kind of, you can say, alpha males are probably never seen, or at least see when they're younger.
That's pretty universal across. That's not just a primate thing. Even deer do that.
Yeah,
a big buck. They don't see them because they're smart. They hide. They don't. They just don't. They know how to not be seen.
Yeah, there's a reason why trophy bucks are almost maybe everyone wants to get that trophy buck because you only see it like once a year, or once every couple of years.
Yeah, they didn't get big by being stupid. They
figured
it out.
Yeah. That is something. Don't you agree, Ryan? That's not talked about much in this field.
Because it's so funny, because when I kind of look at it, is so many people are trying to prove these animals exist, which of course is so important to it. But also, what if we talked about as if these animals did exist, and go even deeper into it, like what you bring up with eyewitness accounts, and like, are we seeing more males or females? What would the ecology of these animals be? What would the psychology of these animals be? How they think? And that's one thing I try to talk about is, if you're trying to prove Bigfoot exists, that's the biggest part of this. But also, what would the next step be? How will we research these animals? What would the actual nature of these creatures be? Because there's so many people that talk about, like, oh, well, this proves it, this proves it, this proves it. Well, yes, the proof is out there for these animals, but let's do the kind of the thought experiment of these animals have already been detected. Let's go to that deeper sense of research of, like, okay, let's look at their ecology. Let's look at their behavioral sets. What would the speculative morphology of Bigfoot be? And even like what we brought up earlier, would it be human or non-human?
There was, once again, I had the same thing. Great question in my brain. Also went gone. Zing day. I'm zinging out, Jeff.
Well, if you want to change gears a little bit, something I've been thinking about a lot lately.
Please.
We've talked a little bit about portals and phasing and that kind of stuff. Had a really great conversation with Todd Neese at that last Bigfoot convention.
Yes. Yep,
and one thing we talked about, I don't know if this is his theory, but he told me about it, is a possible explanation for that is we know this is actually from the Mercury space program, that certain vibrations, certain harmonics will affect your vision. They found that astronauts couldn't see some of the gauges because the vibration of the engine was at certain frequency that kind of made your eyes not work. So, and we've talked before
and when did that happen to the astronauts?
Mercury program. So that would have been the late 50s, early 60s. They discovered that. So, and we talk a lot about Bigfoot having infrasound. If they have the capacity to replicate that harmonic,
right.
They don't disappear, but they make our eyes not see them. That's a pretty interesting theory, and it kind of makes sense.
I've actually discussed that with a couple people. Is could they use also another phenomenon? Could this be why did we hear the term mind speak? Could they be using infrasonic waves to affect our vision and our auditory to make us feel certain ways? Because if people get zapped and feel nervous and scared in the Bigfoot area, what else could they do with infrasound? Sure. Could they maybe not purposefully use infrasound to make it that they are standing right there, but you don't see them?
So this would be a super ability that they possess that we don't.
Yes, and like what we discussed earlier with animals, just because it's something that we don't know doesn't make it supernatural necessarily. It would be just another ability that animals have, because we know tigers use infrasound, other animals use infrasound, and maybe these animals are, like what we talked about earlier, smart enough and intelligent enough to use it to an ability that we have not studied yet.
Yeah.
That was a good question, Jeff, or a good statement, I should say, or passing that on.
What's something I thought about lots? It's a really solid explanation, and it's not, the science is there. It's nothing. We're not making anything up. I mean, we know that we can do that to the human eye. Actually, the military is using that technology right now in that raid in
raid in Venezuela. People are saying something really went down weird.
Incapacitated people with that kind of stuff. So,
and I think Trump got interviewed, and he goes like, "Did you guys use some kind of crazy new weapon?" He goes, "Yep."
Yep.
Yeah.
He didn't deny it. He just goes, "Yep." Didn't say what it was. So, okay. That is that's a great thought. I'm not so sure about that would cause mind speak, but it might.
Well, it could sure disorient your vision.
It could affect vision, but that's one thing I brought up that maybe could it cause mind speak, but I don't think there's been any research with infrasound and auditory effects. I know mostly it's like physiological and like visual, but I don't think of any research with like auditory effects and infrasound.
Well, you just talked in the Weird and Fast News about how our brains behave with silence. Our brain kind of fills in the gaps, and some people are more susceptible to suggestion than others. I mean, if there's some kind of frequency that's disrupting your senses, we just talked about it earlier. Your brain kind of fills in those gaps, and that could explain a lot too.
Yeah.
Interesting. Mind.
I've
thought about that, and I've always thought, guys. So if I get mind speak, how the hell do you know it's not your own mind? You know what I mean?
That's kind of my. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I don't know,
not either.
Because that's one thing I've always wanted to ask someone that's had mind speak. I've never talked to anyone personally, but I'm like, what does a voice sound like?
Yeah.
Like, does it sound like your voice? Does it sound like someone else's voice?
Right.
Like, is it a voice of someone that you know? Like, that's interesting. I've always wanted to ask someone that's experienced it.
Yeah, well, let's put it out there. There may be somebody in our audience. Let's throw it out there. Ryan wants to know, when you hear mind speak, is it your own voice or is it somebody else's voice? And what kind of voice is it? So there you go. So that's out there now. We'll see. And if you are watching this non-live, you can put it in the actual real comments on like YouTube. There you can write up the comments. So we'd like to, we'll check back and we'll read them and we'll get back to you. Right, Ryan? You'll check them.
Yeah, of course.
You might and they might make a contact with somebody that can give you your answers. Okay. So do you think these Bigfoot creatures would hurt anybody? Do you know of any instances? Do you think that they're dangerous? Do you think they're safe? Do you think that all this kind of stuff is just intimidation and blustery behavior? So what are your thoughts on that?
So when I bring up the ideas of like Bigfoot isn't dangerous, any animal is dangerous. Like if a dog has a bad day, it can still bite you. Are they malicious though? Are they purposefully hunting humans and things like that? I don't believe so, because let's be honest, if Bigfoot was out there hunting humans, the Yellowstone wouldn't exist. All these national parks wouldn't exist. But I believe if they were put in a corner, if they were young were involved, they're as dangerous as any other animal. And even more dangerous because of the intelligence. Like if there was let's just say a troop of Bigfoot that wanted to hunt humans, we wouldn't know about it because they'd probably be so intelligent you wouldn't have any, I guess, survivors, I guess you would say. But are these animals dangerous? Yes. But I don't think they're malicious hunting down humans like some type of monsters in the woods. Because if you look at known primatology, known behaviors of primates, they're more likely to scare you away than truly go and kill you. For instance, gorillas. There's no known instances of gorillas killing humans in the wild. There's only been things that have happened in captivity.
There's been like a bite on occasion.
Yeah. And even then, like think of like chest pounding from a gorilla. That's more likely to scare someone away than actually cause an actual attack. Chimps, a little bit more violent animal. You might want to look at chimps because chimps are a little bit more aggressive than gorillas because of how they have to be. And I believe that Sasquatch can be that same way. I believe they're more likely to push you out of the area than truly kill you. Because I think they're also intelligent enough to know if I kill this one human, there's going to be a bunch of other humans in this new area either looking for them or maybe police force looking for their body. I think they might be intelligent enough to know that. I think they're more likely to scare you off than truly and actually injure someone. It's intimidation tactics, things like rock throwing, maybe even infrasound, stick throwing. It's like any other primate. They're more likely to try to intimidate someone than truly cause an actual fight with them.
Yeah, I agree.
By the way, there were two people, Steamboat and somebody else, that said it is not your own voice. It's a different voice. If you guys want to just throw more comments up, I'll post them up and try to get you included in the conversation.
The other person was our brother Littlefoot had comments.
Yeah, there were two people, and they were saying, "Yeah, that's exactly what's happened to me."
Oh,
and then of course you get this stuff. This is people are putting down what they know to be true that they've heard, and as crazy as it sounds like your hat's too tight there, brother Littlefoot. But I'm just joking. I mean, if this is what you've heard and you're relaying it honestly to us, then that's what it is.
Yeah.
So I'm it sounds crazy. All this stuff sounds crazy. So does the guy that discovered the electric eel.
Yeah.
He sounded like a crazy man too.
That's the thing is, I always tell people, I'm like, I can't call anyone crazy. I'm out there looking for Bigfoot in the woods.
So Ryan, you need to get a hold of. I got Eric's number. You need to get a hold of him because he said he'd like to talk to you about MindSpeak.
Of course, I'd love to discuss it with him.
Yeah, and Eric's a pretty serious guy, so he seems like a really honest guy. And once again, we don't know if it's really coming from a telepathic message, but yet they are proving as time goes on that telepathy is more of a real thing, and they're working with autistic children, non-verbal. Have you heard about this? These non-verbal autistic children?
Yes.
And they're finding out that they are all saying that they're all communicating on a regular basis with all of the other nonverbal kids. They have a meeting place they go to. And how are these kids all going to be telling these researchers the same thing? They've never been in, they've never called each other on the phone.
Yeah.
There's nothing written about it previously, and no one's ever researched it. So finally, when they did, they were all saying the same name for this place that they meet. It's fascinating stuff. I don't know. I'm hoping to get her on, one of the women that headed up the research on that.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting stuff. So telepathy is what we're talking about. Bigfoot's having telepathy or being able to, what's it called, Jeff, when it isn't just mind reading, but you're projecting your thoughts. What do they call that? There's a name. Can you look that up if you don't know? What's the term for that? I could mind speak to Ryan and he would oh, what the hell's going on? I hear this guy's voice. That would be broadcasting, basically. So it's fascinating. I mean, stuff's all fascinating.
Yeah.
And I'm the last guy to poo-poo future science. I call it poo-pooing future science, right?
Yeah. That's the thing I always tell people is that the stuff that was once magic is just today's science. The stuff that right now is seen as weird or beyond science. In 5 years, we'll have probably researchers and have a new science with a new ology behind it now.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only term I could find is telepathic projection.
Yeah, there you go. Projection. Okay. I did use the right word.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking astral projection, but I know that's the body moving, so I don't think that I.
Right, it's not astral. That's more of a soul moving, but psychic projection would be weird if you had that power and you could just I swear to God. So this happened to me one time, and it's never happened to me since. I was on an airline, and I swear to God, I was hearing MindSpeak from one of the stewardesses. And it was really weird, and it was no, don't say it was nothing sexual, nothing like that. It was just somebody who somehow knew that I could hear her and started speaking to me, and then looked at me and winked at me. It was wow. Whoa. And I've never talked about this because I've kind of just forgotten about it many years ago. But I always wondered about that, and then I kind of forgot about it. So you're getting me thinking about that. That was weird, where I could hear this during the entire flight. this woman talking to me, telling me all sorts of things, and it was in her voice. So there you go. And Steve goes, Doug, I'm projecting a place to you right now. What island am I thinking of? Okay, well, I'll think and see if it's kind of a weird thing. Yeah, nothing's coming through. I'm in my soundproof room, but maybe it will. We'll see.
Like stuff like that is really interesting to me because, for instance, a couple months ago, I went to a symposium that was all remote viewers, and being that in person was really opened up my eyes to stuff like this. Because for the longest time, I would, like what you said, poo-poo future science, but I know that you gotta keep that open mind and have an idea. Like, no, stuff like this does occur, and it does happen.
Wow. So the only thing that popped into my mind for some weird reason was Key West. I don't know why that popped into my mind. So there you go. Okay. So where do we want to take this conversation? I love talking to you, Ryan. I love the way you think.
I
try. I'm just thinking, okay, what are our options here? I want to talk about what they eat, and I've always had this theory that there's a lot more of these things than we think. So I want to ask you about how many you think there are. Just going to be a multi-part question. How many do you think there might be in North America, including Canada? What their foods might be, and do you think, like I do, that they punch into the edges quite often of suburbs? Where there's good corridors. Yeah. And probably stay even for a while because we have so many deer and other thing at the edges. I think you were on Barnaby's show at one point, weren't you?
Yes.
That's called Monsters on the Edge.
Yeah.
So let's talk about edges and what they eat.
Population.
Yeah, and population. Yep.
Okay. To break down a population question, I'm trying to remember the equation I used once because there's a certain equation you can use with square areas and all that, and income of calories. I would say probably between 2,000 to 4,000 Sasquatch will across the United States and Canada, because I believe they would have a large area of territory. And if you look at the caloric needs for these creatures, it would be fairly high. For instance, I would say they would have the caloric needs to about a grizzly bear to a black bear, because how much they would need for, especially their large brains. If I had it in front of me, I would have the equation I've used before on the mathematics of it, but the mathematics work. I just don't have it in front of me. But if you look at Sasquatch compared to known creatures, one animal that a lot of people compare it to are black bears. Black bears need about 2 or 3 times the caloric needs of humans. So I would say, okay, let's look at Sasquatch. Let's look at the caloric needs of these animals and compare it to known species like black bears. I would say that they would have the population of about 1 Sasquatch to every 100 black bears across the United States. And if you break that down, it's about 2,000 to 3,000 individuals, because I say these animals would have large territories, having probably 1 or 2 family groups.
Okay. Well, let's back the truck up on that formula. Yeah. Okay. So 1 Bigfoot compared to 100 black bears, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So Minnesota, we have 40,000 black bears. Just Minnesota. Well, that would be 1 out of 100. Wouldn't that be 4,000?
Yeah, 4,000.
So we have 4,000 Bigfoots in just Minnesota.
Sorry, I'm saying the wrong numbers. I guess
1 to 1,000, I think.
1 to 1,000, 1 to 1,000.
Yeah.
So that's about 40 Sasquatch in one state. So that would.
Well, no, that would put it at, in some states, like 400, which would make total sense. That doesn't seem too many.
That's one thing too, is also like genetic drift, is how, because you can't have too small of a population that their genetics wouldn't work out, like inbreeding and stuff like that. But also you would have to have a population that can't be too big because they would be detected. So I do think that also they would live alongside like known like suburban areas, there's been plenty of sightings of Sasquatch, maybe even entering suburban areas where you wouldn't expect them. But thanks to like green spaces and waterways and things like that, they're able to hide away from humans. I think these animals would be able to probably steal trash. There's stories of them eating pets, things like that. Livestock killings by Sasquatch would be very common in certain suburban areas because these animals are smart enough to avoid humans, but also know where the food is. Look at how bears are. Look at how deer are. Like literally here in San Antonio the other day, I was driving in the middle of town and almost hit a white-tailed deer crossing the street when there's literally skyscrapers the next block over.
Yeah, rats with antlers.
Yeah. So if these known animals can do it, why wouldn't a Sasquatch do it? And I say, especially if there are waterways, if there are green spaces where these animals can easily get to, they would do it. And it's kind of the areas that they know humans wouldn't enter, or like let's just say there's creeks where they can easily cross the creek and cross the water, and humans might not want to follow them. That's something they would look for. And I believe the suburban Sasquatch is a thing. And I think these animals are intelligent enough to go out at night. Humans aren't really around. Also, let's be honest, we don't exactly have night vision either. So if a Sasquatch is able to maybe hide behind a tree or something like that, if it stays still enough, we might just be able to not see it, or maybe just see it as a bear. Because I think a lot of times these animals do go on all fours. There's a lot of signs of them getting down on all fours and walking away. And I think that's for one, to hide, and also I think they're trying to trick our brains into thinking that we just saw a bear and we actually saw a Sasquatch.
That is interesting. And so I'll tell you just a brief one of my on fours walking stories. I was talking to a friend of mine who's a Native American Ojibwe guy, and I'd been asking him for years and years and years, and he was a wildlife manager and blah blah blah, super brilliant guy, and I kept bugging him. I know you've seen one of these things. Why won't you admit it to me? We're buds. I ain't gonna say anything. I'm not going to give anybody your name and say, and you just would go, no, I've never seen one. Man, after about like 5 years of tagging on the guy, one day I'm at dinner with him and his mom and his dad. And all of a sudden he just blurts it out. All right, I'll tell you my story. And he says he was with a group of other people back when he was, younger. He was just getting into forest management, and a Bigfoot came across a big giant log pile, and it was on all fours, Ryan, and it went over the top of the log pile so smooth and low, like it was on its fingers, like walking on its fingers. It came down the log pile, got to the backside, stood up, and walked into the woods. But the way it went across the log pile was like almost like a snake would. And why he wouldn't tell me that story for 5 years and then just suddenly blurted out. His mom hit him in the shoulder, just jokingly. But she goes, you never told us that story. She was like, but the way he described that, and this guy doesn't do any Bigfoot research. Like he's never once read anything on the internet or looked at YouTube. He's not that kind of guy. He's just telling the story of what happened, and yet it matches with other reports I've heard.
Yeah, and that's an interesting thing that you brought up. That he said it was walking with its hands, because a lot of stories you would think these animals would be walking on their knuckles, but a lot of stories that I've heard, it's them walking on their hands, like how we do, like how humans do. And could that be for maybe would it give them a little bit more traction? Would it give them maybe a little less sound? Because if you're hitting with your palm and your open hands, it gives you a little bit more traction than with your knuckles. And so that's interesting how a lot of people talk about when they're walking on all fours, they're not knuckle walking, they're opening with their open hands like a human.
Yeah. And I've heard that from other people too. It's like creepy looking.
Yeah.
Like they just kind of glide.
I think they call it a spider walk. I've heard people call it
yeah. But the way this guy described it sent chills up my body, the way he described it, just smoothly going up this big. I mean, we're talking a log pile like 20 feet high, and it went over the top, and then down, and then stood up instantly and just walked upright into the forest.
Wow!
But it didn't think it was being watched.
Yeah.
But God, that would be so weird to see.
Yeah, because it's kind of the idea of like, if you have a Bigfoot sighting, you kind of have an idea what Bigfoot looks like. But then if they hit something like that, like walking on all fours or doing something that's not expected, it creeps us out. It kind of innate fear kicks in.
Yeah.
Well, again, it's kind of like the uncanny valley. It's just something off about it. It's just unnatural.
But even
like that.
Think about it too. If you saw someone running at you on all fours, you still have the same effect of like a lot of people freak out because think of how many times in horror movies they use that same trope of someone running at you on all fours. It just that uncanny valleyness. It's something like in our brains that just makes us afraid of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's like a primordial fear of being carried off.
Yeah,
or dragged off. The late Bill Burns, who was I was interviewing him because he owned the original King Kong armature they used for the original 1901 or whatever it was movie, 1920 or some damn thing.
30s, I think it was.
30s, okay. But he had that armature that they used for the stop action.
Oh wow!
And he had his whole house is full of like memorabilia from way off. So he studies this stuff. And I asked him, I said, why do you think people are so afraid of Bigfoots? And he goes, because they could drag you off, hold you hostage if they wanted to, and eat you or hurt you at any point they wanted. You know, they're very human-like, and that scares us too.
Yeah. And it's funny how you bring that up because think about it. When the gorilla was first discovered, how many stories were brought up of gorillas grabbing young maidens and running off into the woods? I'm trying to think the one who sculpted, but I know there's a famous sculpture of a gorilla on two legs grabbing a woman and running off with her. But it's funny how those stories are so prevalent, but then we look into the modern day, gorillas don't do that. There's no stories of gorillas kidnapping people, especially adults. There's no stories of chimps kidnapping kids in the past, and that's mostly for a predatory reason. But yet they still persist. And look at the Native American traditions of Sasquatch grabbing women and running off into the hills with them. Yeah. It's the same story, but two different continents. And it's kind of an interesting fact of like our fear of being grabbed and running off with.
But by the way, Minxie, you mentioned Harryhausen. I got to talk to him before he died, and he was in England. And I had a nice conversation, and I told him when I was a kid, I watched all of his movies, like the Blue Rose and the Simbads. And,
Seventh Voyage of Sinbad.
I mean, we would sit there. We would be excited. Me and my sister would be so excited when one of his movies would come on. We'd plan this thing the whole day to watch one of his movies, and he was really sweet to me on the phone, and I interviewed him. But man, what a visionary that guy was.
Oh, brilliant guy.
Yeah. They don't play any of his old movies anymore.
They're great too. I just love those.
Can you buy them somewhere?
I think they're all streaming.
Sure,
They're where, Jeff?
I think I'm almost positive they're streaming.
They gotta be because
I've seen them. I've seen the Sinbad ones recently.
Really?
I've seen Jason and the Argonauts recently.
Yeah.
Do you know how cool that was to talk to that guy?
I can't imagine. I was a huge fan.
Oh man, that was so cool. I just thought, whoa,
he's a big deal. He was something else.
Yeah, because when I was a kid, I never would have envisioned. When I grew up,
I think his last movie was Clash of the Titans. I think that was his very last big job.
And he was old when I talked to him, but man, he was still with it. And I would have. I mean, that was what's going on? How many years now? 20 years ago, even older, maybe longer than that. I'm like, he can't be alive anymore. No way. It's funny how we make people pass away just based on how many years it's been.
He died 2013 at age 92.
Yeah, that makes sense. Wow. Yeah, because I was doing Monster Quest when I was talking to him. Actually, I was working on Giganto. That would have been 2005 when I talked to him. So he died when, Jeff?
2013 at age 92.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
Cool.
He was born in LA.
I was
and he died in
I was
London.
just shocked he was alive when I talked to him. Like, how does this make sense? You must have been like 18 when you were making those Sinbad movies.
Well, the Sinbad movies came out. The first one came out in 58.
Oh, wow.
So he would have been 38 in his 30s.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The first Sinbad
It's just
movie.
weird. I don't know. That was just a dream for me.
But he did creature, a lot of the cheesy 50s.
Yeah, but they
creature
were
movies.
they scared the
He did some of
living
those.
hell
That's
out
what
of
started
us
out.
when we were kids. The Cyclops and all the stuff.
There's
Anyhow,
actually a
sorry,
really
I don't mean to
documentary about
digress.
him.
Sorry, Ryan.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good. I love conversation.
Oh Lord, I don't even remember what we were talking. Oh, we were talking about finger and hand walking.
Yeah.
But let's talk about tree climbing.
Okay.
Because once again, nobody ever talks about, do they climb freaking trees or do they not?
I believe they do, because think about it. If you're always looking on the ground for them, if it's a large enough tree to hold the weight and all that, I think they would be able to climb the tree. Because also, if you look at the foot structure, the metatarsal break in the foot, of course, this is a discovery made by the late Jeff Meldrum in Sasquatch footprints, that along the Sasquatch foot, it kind of breaks in the middle. And that's an adaptation from early hominids, like Paranthropus, early humans, that's good for tree climbing. And so could they be using that for climbing into trees? I believe especially the younger ones got to. Because think if you're a young Sasquatch, maybe the size of maybe like a gibbon to a chimpanzee, you could easily climb up in a tree and avoid predators, things like that. But also it'd be kind of idea of detection. Maybe could they be using this as a form of hunting? Imagine an elk walking by a tree and there's a 6 foot tall, 7 foot tall Bigfoot up in a tree down on it.
But
that's that elk.
But Ryan, I just personally haven't really had any personal stories. I have heard a few, out there, but I've never had anybody go, "Oh man, I saw one leap out of a tree."
Yeah, I haven't heard any personal stories either. I've heard like anecdotes and stuff like that of people seeing like eyes shine up in like 12 foot tall up in a tree that was too large to be an owl, things like that. But I haven't heard any like personal stories of them up in trees. But I think they would be able to use them.
Well, we've heard lots of stories about them climbing steep, rugged terrain very quick.
Yeah.
That's a very common story. Is
that's
mountainsides and cliffs. Just
climbing.
climbing really,
if you
really
really
agile.
study your gait, Jeff, you realize the way they walk is exactly like a Peruvian horse walks, with the same kind of a gait, and I call it the mountain gait. And Peruvian horses also are naturally gaited horses, and they've been bred to climb mountains. And I did a TV story on Peruvian horses back in the 80s. And I was like filming with a 10,000 shutter speed. And I was filming the back, of Peruvian horses walking away from me. And it was so weird the way they twisted their legs and blah, blah, blah. And that stuck with me. And then years later, like, oh my God, 20 years later, I'm studying the Patterson film. And I noted the exact same leg movement that haunted me from the Peruvian horses. And then I called it the mountain gait. I thought, well, now other people can take it, they can research this, and people who are into locomotion and blah, blah, blah. That was just, ho-hum, nobody cared. And I even talked about it on national TV numerous times, and it just said it never got any traction. Of what you can see in the Patterson film if you think 3D versus 2D or 1D.
Yeah.
Really look at it and go, okay, now what if that thing's walking towards me? What if it's walking away? What am I going to see on Patterson? And the legs wallow out, the legs twist, and they kind of go knock-kneed and then out and in and out and in, kind of a, kind of like that.
Yeah.
And then they put the one foot in front and the other one, but everything's twisting. It's really interesting. So anyhow, once again, crickets. Just like, shut up, Doug.
It makes sense because that's something I bring up with Sasquatch is when you look at the morphology of these creatures, you look at how they walk, you look at the foot structure, you look at even the hand structure. These animals were built for rough terrain, things like the Rocky Mountains, stuff like that. And that's one thing people bring up is like, are these things human? Are these non-human? I believe they're non-human just from morphology, but also I think these animals evolved and adapted for North America. They're not built for somewhere else. They're built for this continent. And look at a lot of people don't talk about this either, Doug, is the hand structure. Is when you look at there's not a lot of them, but the examples of Sasquatch handprints are very non-human. The distally placed thumb that's placed lower down on the hand, very similar to a gorilla. The stubbier fingers that wouldn't have what we call precision grip. So it shows a hand that's very much, it's strong, but wouldn't maybe necessarily have the dexterity of like a human hand, which is interesting because I believe last year, about maybe September, October, there's a research on Paranthropus, which was a non-human primate that was an offshoot of Australopithecines that existed in Africa that had a very similar hand structure. It was distally placed thumb with stubbier fingers that was more of a strength-based hand than a precision like grip-based hand. And this is almost exactly the same morphology seen in the few Sasquatch handprints that we see.
By the way, I'm going to throw this out there to you. Cliff Brockman is collecting quite a collection of newer stuff they're finding. And if you call Nico over there at the North American Bigfoot Museum, you may be able to get some photos from them of some newer handprints that they've gotten. There are other stuff, but it's just nobody has really collected all of the handprints all over the country and put them in one place.
Yeah,
it would be really cool if they did that.
Because
Freeman had some too.
Yeah, because I know some of the most well known are the Freeman ones. I know there's a couple from Marks created a couple, but up in Bosberg, I believe they might have I believe they correlated with the Cripplefoot footprints. But I know the few examples I know of with handprints shows almost the exact same morphology, which is interesting because of course Bigfoot's known for the footprints, but what can the handprints say about it? And that's a piece of the research I don't think a lot of people really looked into.
It's not. I agree. It's not looked at much. It doesn't mean I'm not working on it. It might be. And there's just so many things that are just rarely discussed with Bigfoot. Trees are one of them.
Yeah.
And I've also thought about them using trees for travel, not tree to tree, but using their longer arms to grab trees to kind of propel themselves forward. If that makes any sense. In other words, they use the left hand to shoot a little bit to the right, but then they do the opposite back and forth, and they could probably, launch, I guess, catapult themselves forward. I don't know. And that has been witnessed, but it's never talked about.
Yeah. And that's a lot of things that, especially when you look at the researchers, it's kind of the idea of it's talked amongst the researchers, but not really talked to the bigger world of Bigfoot research. Another thing I look at is when you look at Bigfoot ideas, when you look at the anatomy of it, it's kind of, people don't like to talk about it, but the posterior of Sasquatch, it's a larger posterior, like gluteal muscles in Sasquatch because they're a bipedal primate.
Right.
And that's something I hear the researchers talk about and some eyewitnesses bring up, but you don't hear I guess you can say layman of Bigfoot talk about things like, could they be using trees like this? Could they be climbing trees? Would they be doing knuckle walking? Would they be using palm walking? It's stuff you talked about by the researchers, but not really the people watching shows like Finding Bigfoot or Monster Quest and things like that.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's not talked about. It needs to be. The vernacular for Bigfoot research needs to expand.
Yes.
There needs to be terms sometimes maybe even applied to it, like the spider walk. That whoever named it that, it might have been, was it Wes Germer that named it the spider walk? I
can't think of the first person to use it, but I've heard it a couple times.
I think it was Wes Germer, but I'll give him credit for it.
It's official.
but that then term caught on.
Yeah.
And that is now being discussed, which is great.
Yeah. And that's kind of thing I talk about is like the nomenclature game, because that's something that's really important to me is like naming of it. Because there's been so many times I've talked to people like, oh, I saw a white Bigfoot, I saw a Yeti. And I'm like, no. Totally different thing, seen in a totally different area. If just because you saw something white doesn't mean you saw a big Yeti. And technically Yetis aren't even white in the first place. Totally different thing right there. But things of like people using like what we talked about earlier with the dogman phenomena. People seeing more dogman now just because it has a name to it. And even Bigfoot, for the longest time, wild man, Sasquatch. And if you looked at like the old newspapers and Bigfoot sightings, they don't use Bigfoot, they use wild man, gorilla, chimp, things like that. The nomenclature in this field is really important.
Yeah, we need terms anyhow, really cool terms to just name like different things. Like Shelley Covington, I was talking to her about the sebum and the handprints, and I said, Shelley, you should name this stuff.
Yeah.
So she came up with Alba vernix.
Yeah.
And Sasquatch Alba vernix. And Alba means white, and the vernix is obviously like the wax that's on like newborn babies.
Yeah.
The thick wax, and that's kind of what it seems like. I talked to Snow White Bigfoot the other day, and she's had multiple ones. She had a handprint on a door, and it started to like crystallize from the probably extra salt in it, is my guess. Photographed it really well, but it's starting. I mean, it won't be the first one I've seen crystallize.
Yeah.
Where it starts forming like salt crystals on it.
That's interesting.
We all have salt in our sebum.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd have to have a lot of salt to start catalyzing and crystallizing, right?
No, like it's interesting because a good friend of mine, Tex Wesson, he's a researcher up in.
I know Tex. Oh yeah, I know.
He does a lot of Bigfoot research in central Oklahoma, and he has a handprint on one of his trucks, and he took a picture of it. And I brought up a picture of one of the handprints discovered up in Washington, and it's almost the exact same detail. And I'm like, okay, these are two pieces of evidence that are decades apart. Thousands of miles apart, but it's the exact same anatomy.
Yeah.
And that's something I bring up with especially Bigfoot research is that there's so many correlations. And the question I always get from people is, of course, what is the best evidence for Bigfoot? And people bring up, of course, Bigfoot prints, eyewitness testimony, videos. I say it's all of it and none of it at the same time. It's the correlations that's the best evidence.
Consistency.
It's the consistency. Like, look at Patrick Gibbons film.
That's evidence alone.
Yeah.
You know what the consistency I love more than anything is the consistency of sightings. It's a geographic problem. It's a geographic issue. It happens near woods, water, and hills, or at least two of those ingredients. You don't get them in downtown Vegas. If it was made up, the sightings would happen in all sorts of weird places.
Yeah.
But the fact you can I have a transparency of a river, a map of the sightings on transparent see-through, and then the river map below it. You lay that on there.
It collates.
It collates. Not even a little bit. It's perfect.
Yeah. And even like seasonal sightings, like when people map eyewitness accounts and you take in like certain times of the season, like one thing I know a lot of researchers are doing, trying to see nationwide with the sightings, could we find migratory routes? Could we see and certain, I'm trying to think which, the Monster Quest episode, it was the snow beast, they could tell when there's certain elevations at certain times of the year where the ungulates were, they were Bigfoot sightings.
Yeah.
So that's even showing that the correlations.
Data that we did. that was in that. I think it was in a show we did. I produced called Snow Beast Slaughter. I hated that title.
Yeah,
that wasn't my title. Somebody made me use that. But
I get the views, right?
But it was a good show because we did GIS on the seasonal sightings, and during certain times of the year, all the sightings were in this area.
Yeah.
That's that consistency is beyond. I mean, it's literally beyond a proof. It shows that we're dealing with a living creature here.
Yes.
Not fictitious data.
And all the people that say, well, it's not real, because this, I'm like, well, look at the correlations, look at the consistency between these creatures and known zoology, known biology. Bergman's law states that when you get to higher latitudes, colder areas, animals get bigger. When you get to lower latitudes or hotter areas, animals get smaller. You see that with footprint sightings and the sightings. Bigfoot's up in Alaska and Canada, I believe. There's been sightings of like 11-foot tall, 12-foot tall Sasquatch. While here in like parts of Texas, most sightings are usually 7 to 8 foot tall. There's maybe 1 or 2 9 feet tall sightings, but you see that same
That's kind of Bergman's law too.
Yeah,
where the creatures in Texas are a little smaller than they are up in Alaska.
Everything's bigger in Texas except for Bigfoot. We
exactly.
admit it.
Your deer aren't as big as our deer either because of Bergman's law. The white-tailed deer are bigger in Minnesota, considerably bigger than you have there.
And that's also because of the cold, because the ratio between skin and volume. If you have more volume but less skin, you release less heat. That's why like elephant ears in Africa are larger because they're trying to get rid of the heat. The elephant ears in Asia are smaller because they're trying to retain the heat to an extent. That's why like mammoth ears were smaller.
Very interesting. Jeff, we've got like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
We're pushing the clock, Ryan, because we're having a very interesting
great conversation. Heck yeah.
We're doing Doug's 3-hour tour. I've been accused of. It's like, oh, here we go again with Doug's 3-hour tour.
Yeah, I believe in it because this is something that need to be talked about, discussion, conversation. I hate to be the person who always brings the thing, but I'm like, conversation is something that's lacking nowadays. And that's why I love going to conferences and stuff like that, because it shows people having like-minded conversations that aren't yelling at each other and stuff like that, or people that have different ideals that come and find the middle ground and stuff like that.
Okay, so Kim Christensen said somebody, and it's true, we should have a name. She said we need vernacular like they have for all sorts of other animals. Good, that's got her thinking. For a baby, or instead of juvenile, that doesn't mean crap. We should have vernacular. So I'm going to assign that to you, Ryan. So I want you to come up with a name and officially name them and put it in one of your books someday. Name what a baby Bigfoot is called. A newborn, a young, real young.
Yeah.
You got to think about that, and you should name it. Okay.
I'm trying to think if there's any known names for like a baby chimp or a baby gorilla.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Speaking of his books, I want to put these up too.
Oh yeah.
We got his book covers here.
You got to promote his books.
For sure.
Beyond Bigfoot. Perfect.
One.
Cryptids of the world.
Here, let me get rid of that text. Let's see it there.
There we go.
And then
and
there we go.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, you got to be really proud of yourself. I mean, for a young
you're young
guy to have 3 freaking books out, that's crazy.
Yep, and hopefully trying to work on my 4th one right now. But honestly, I'm one of those people that I'm proud of myself, but I wouldn't be here thanks to all the other people that have gotten me here. Like, for instance, like right here, Beyond Bigfoot, the foreword's written by the one and only Lowen Coleman.
That's awesome.
Someone that was and still is a hero of mine. Ken Gerhard was the forward writer of my 2nd book, and that's when he lived literally the same here in San Antonio. But it's seeing from the past of researchers and talking to people like you, Doug, and eyewitnesses and other researchers like Cliff Barackman and the people that really started this community, like even like Dr. Carl Schuker, that have really helped me out in this research and really bring me to where I am, because I feel like there's perspective and ideas in cryptozoology that haven't been brought up yet or still need to be really investigated. And that's ultimately what I'm here for, is to educate others on this field, because I'm not here to try to make people try to prove Bigfoot or prove these cryptids. It's about educating others and making them come to their own conclusion.
Yeah, because there is so much misinformation and lack of information with the average person, right? Don't you agree? It's just like, yeah. I mean, you take a person off the street, go to the hardware store, and start asking questions. I've done all that kind of crap, and you just do it. You'd be amazed at the ignorance that they have on the top. They think most people think there's one.
Yeah. Wasn't it seen in the 60s? Should it be dead by now? And I'm like, population, right? This isn't like the Loch Ness Monster where people see just one. It has to be a population of it.
Exactly. I get a kick out of that. And by the way, I always want to remind people when I talk about mind speak and it doesn't mean I know anything about it or have any opinion on it, because I don't. But I want to learn. I want to learn.
Yeah.
But I haven't formed any opinion whether it's real or not real or anything, because I've not experienced it. But on the same token, I think that I don't think any info like that should be buried. Les Stroud came forward and said, "Hey, I had mind speak." It'd be cool to do. If anybody is still out there, I know there was 2 people in there that experienced it. I would be willing to do a whole mind speak show. Just get you guys on, but just get a hold of Jeff, get him your thing, and Jeff can write mind speak, and we'll contact you and we'll get you all on. We'll get like 3 people that have experienced it, and we'll just kind of go through it.
I'll put my email up again.
By the way, Steamboat wanted to know what part of Texas you're in again.
Located in San Antonio, Texas, so Central Texas. But I do go out. I think that's how you said Fouke area, that area. I do go out there every so often. I've gone out to I've gone out to Jefferson, Texas, plenty of times. So East Texas is kind of a second home to mine.
San Antonio.
Yeah. You were one of the people I was talking about, Steamboat, having on. I just would like to get more than one person, because it's such a crazy topic, and you guys can all compare notes live on the air. So it'd be more like your show that you guys can talk to each other.
That'd be cool to see.
Yeah. If you're interested, you can be on too, Ryan, and you can ask questions.
Yeah.
So I'll invite you back, and we'll get some bunch of mind speak. Just why not? I might get crap for it, but I don't care. I'm open to whatever. Let's get it out in the air.
Yeah. And then Steamboat, I'm seeing you comment, so yeah, I'll reach out to you, my man, because I love making new contacts, especially in Texas, because people forget how squatchy and how much stuff we have down here.
Do you ever get into the swampy stuff in eastern Texas?
A couple times, yeah. That's one thing, is I do some field investigating, but not as much as I wish I could.
Yeah.
Just working 9-to-5 job and all that. I'm a full-time educator, so that takes up a lot of my time. But I do love talking to researchers and stuff like that out there.
What grades do you teach?
I teach middle school, 6th through 8th grade. I co-teach a AVID program. That's kind of a college prep course, philosophy, ethics, stuff like that.
Oh, cool. Very cool. Very cool. All right, we're gonna wrap up till we've covered enough stuff.
Yeah, it's been a
so
great
Carl wants to come on too. He'd be up for Mind Speak. So okay, Carl, Steamboat, and there was somebody else in chat. I can't remember your name. But maybe you can go through the chat Jeff. And
yeah, email me and
if you're still here, then let's do a show on MindSpeak. And if there's anybody else, I don't care. I don't care. We get 6 people on.
Email me.
I might even get Les Stroud on if I get something lined up. Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
I'll call Les and see if he wants to pop in for a little bit.
I'm like, that is someone that I do want to meet in this field. I've not talked to Les Stroud yet.
Okay,
he's a cool guy.
Well, so I'll be happy to ask him if I'll just tell him, hey, pop in. We got a whole bunch of MindSpeak people coming on, and
that'd be a fun show.
Let's air the dirty laundry. Let's get it out in the open. So let's see here. Blah blah blah. I think. Oh, we were gonna do something. Oh, tech. I want to do that before we go because I promised it.
Okay.
Tech breakdown.
See,
it's an easy. It's easy. Yeah, go ahead. Here we're back. That gave me just long enough to get my mouse working. Okay, throw up. You have it up. Okay, so what I want to just talk about is, one, I meet a lot of people who have gone camping, they've had a Bigfoot experience, and they don't want to go anymore. People get grabbed, their head grabbed while they're in their tent. They're like, I'm not doing that anymore. There's a lot of women who won't go with their husbands. They hear the stories. So I thought I would talk about inexpensive things called, perimeter alarms, both mechanical and electrical. Have you ever used a perimeter alarm, Ryan? Probably not.
No, just maybe string and cans.
Well, there you go. Okay, you could do that. You could do a string and cans. But anyhow, these are all using a string. First off, then we're going to talk about one that doesn't use that stuff. So they have them in electric. And this is the first one here. It's a flashing light alert. It puts a loud digital siren. So it's going to scare off any bears, because people, it may not be a Bigfoot you're afraid of. It might be wildlife.
Mm-hmm.
You may camp in grizzly country and glacier. It could be any reasons, but this will protect you. At least you're going to know if something's in the area. Can these be gotten around? Probably, but if you do it right, it probably won't mess with your tent. I don't think a black bear would either. But this one's rechargeable. It's a trip line triggered alarm. And this is a company, this is a Gen 4 trip alarm. This one's not cheap. It's $129 to $199, depending on where you look. And then let's go to get away from electronic and go to mechanical. And this puts out a loud bang. And you put what looks like a shotgun shell, but there's no pellets in it, but it does explode. And this works with all trip lines. You don't need any power, electronics. It's a loud mechanical alert. It's weather resistant. It's proven. And it's just a very simple thing. You can buy these for like $29, but they have a kit. You can get a whole kit. And this is made by, how would you say that, Jeff? Faith Ops.
Yeah.
Faith Ops. And they have a website, and you can get a whole kit with a bunch of these in it for between 119, depending on how big you want the kit. So that's another way to go. And it's basically like a grenade. It pulls a little pin out, and there's a spring, and it snaps, sets off a shotgun shell, guaranteed to scare away any bears, any Bigfoots. They're gone.
It's a 9mm blank is what it uses.
Oh, it's only 9mm.
It's a 9mm blank. It's a pretty small round. It's a blank round. So there's no projectiles.
Still pretty loud.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, it'd be very loud for sure.
Yeah, and you don't want to put a real bullet in there.
Yeah.
And then we get into the infrared stuff. And these are a little spendier, but the range on them is really good. $119. Once again, there's people selling them all the way up to $349. So, but they'll protect you from a longer distance. And if you think Bigfoots can see IR, they're going to steer clear of these to begin with. But what's cool is that you can also use a garage or a driveway alarm. They sell them on Amazon. They work really good, and the batteries last forever. I'm not going to say where, what, how, but I've used driveway alarms for Bigfoot research. They're amazing. The range on them is like, 150 feet. They can be tripped. And what's cool is you can get one main alarm, but then you can get all these sub IR triggers that come with it. You can order them with 4 triggers, 2 triggers, or 1. And they're quite inexpensive. And so, you can do this. That's purposely built. But what do you think about that? I mean, it would get things like this will get people back in the woods that even been traumatized.
Yeah, because that thing is a lot of eyewitnesses after they see things like this, Bigfoot, Dogman, they don't go in the woods again.
No.
But if they show things that like, no, there is avoidance technology, like for instance, like IR light. Put IR light around your campsite, you're not going to see it, but if a Bigfoot can see it, it's going to avoid it.
Right.
Sure.
Things like loud noises, large fires, stuff like that. That's one thing I tell people is just because these things look monstrous, they're not. I don't think they're monsters. Don't be scared to do what you love. Like if you like camping and hiking, and you saw Bigfoot and now you're scared to do it, still do it because that Bigfoot was there before. If you went camping 20 times and you saw Bigfoot on 19th time, it was there. There's other times, just you didn't know it.
Right, exactly. That's a good way to look at it. But there's a lot. I mean, trust me, if you're traumatized, you're worried about it, you want to go camping, or if you are even scared of like black bears or whatever.
Yeah.
Get yourself a perimeter alarm and then you can sleep. You're going to sleep better. And you can get out in the woods and you can set up a couple of, like these IR alarms or trip alarms, and you're going to just sleep good. I definitely would use them if I was in grizzly country.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take a lesson from Timothy Treadwell. Use perimeter alarms.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Anyhow, with that, let's hang tight. We're going to do our wisdom. And then we'll be right back. Hang tight.
Right back, everybody. Hang tight.
It's now time for Untold Radio AM Wisdom of the Week. Remember this. Helping people isn't about fixing them or completely solving their problems. It's about showing up. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is just stand beside someone and not walk away. Good night. We hope to see you all next week. If you like the show tonight, please consider giving us a thumbs up, leaving a nice comment, and most of all, subscribing and hitting the bell so you will be notified when a new episode is dropping. Also, please share this episode. Now back to Doug and Jeff for our wrap.
Sorry, guys. I had to grab my charger. My computer's about to die.
Oh, Ryan,
okay.
Ryan, I told you to stay put.
I was looking. I was like, "Oh, my battery has 10%. Let me go grab a charger real quick."
No, we're
Busted. Busted. Well, we had one guest drive off on us one time.
Oh wow!
Carried his phone. Well, you can do that now with a phone. You can just do a podcast. And you can be driving.
Yeah.
He just drove off. It's like, well, where are you going? Oh, I gotta go pick up my wife. I'm like, makes sense to me.
Well, she can be a guest too, but
yeah, exactly. It just made perfect sense to me. I was just like, never thought about it. All right. Anyhow, so we'll be back next week. Thank you so much, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan.
Again,
you guys.
Where can people contact you?
Of course, I'm available on Facebook. If you look up Ryan Edwards, I will pop up, or hopefully somewhere at some point. I also have an email. It's Ryan Edwards. That's one word, RyanEdwards .crypto @gmail.com. That's my email. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram as well. So if you reach out to me on any of those, I'll always reach back out.
Sounds good. Well, thanks so much. It was a very interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, everybody in chat. What a great group we had tonight.
Always.
I couldn't keep up even reading all this stuff. It was crazy. Anyhow, we love you all, and we will be back next Sunday. See ya.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, guys.
I call you up in the middle of the night. Been bothered by dreams, ain't feeling alright. You give me comfort, say just give it some time. By the end of our talk, I'm feeling just fine. You and I will always know where we belong. This ain't no ordinary love we got going on. I'll pick you up in my 59 Ford. We head on down the road until we get bored. Just you and me and the sun and the wind. If the rain should start falling, we'll head on home again. Everybody else can see where we belong. Oh, ain't no ordinary love we got going on. At the end of the world, together forever is one, and I'll wait. If ever you should be in doubt, and I pray they never can pull us apart, and I'll wait for the time when we'll be together every day. But I know if ever we'll be led astray, that I'll find my way back home to you again. At the end of the world, together forever is one, and I'll wait if ever you should be in doubt, and